guest that is the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube guys. How you doing, Connie? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are joined today by our special guest, Matt, aka Shadowpunk. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, no problem. Good to have you. Excuse me. So this is the first time for you. Welcome.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited to get on a lot of these podcasts and talk to people. What's funny is that a lot of times I've been posting my artwork on my Twitter page for maybe since last April, and some of the people have never seen any of it, right?
I have to count myself among them.
Yeah, right. I mean,
where did this come from?
It's all timing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we all have to remember that, right? I'm like, I showed that page a year ago or 6 months ago. I'm like, people have never seen it, man. And you got to keep posting it and find new people, I guess. And yeah. So, it's awesome. Awesome to be here.
Fantastic. I want to welcome Hex Allen Comics. What's up, man? Yeah.
Here we go.
Shadowpunk, baby.
I like that. Yeah, it's cool. He has a cool icon too.
Yeah. What's up, General Piggy? Hey, my friends.
I know that guy.
Nice. Welcome to the show again. So, what I'd like to do on my show is, thank you so much for sharing dropping the link.
Oh, cool.
Sign up, punks. Shadowpunk 1, Hero Against the City of Evil. Join the fight. And you know what? Let me do something here. All right, good. That's good. And let's make the Honorable General Piggy a mod. What's up, Carol's Cookies? How art thou? Good to have you. Hello.
Hey, Carol.
Love cookies. Cookie love.
She could almost be Shadowpunk with those goggles.
Yeah, there you go.
That's cool.
Absolutely. What I like to do on my channel is delve into the creator's quote unquote origin story.
Okay.
So I'd love to find out more about you, especially with this being your first time on the channel. Please share with us the things you were into growing up.
Oh, man.
You into comics, cartoons, toys, video games, action figures. And what were the major milestones that led you down through your life and through your career to becoming an independent crowdfunding creator?
Wow, that's a big question, man. That is, I'll try to sum it up, so like a lot of people, I collected comics pretty early on. And I remember there was a Frank Miller cover, and I forget what comic it was for. It might have been like Marvel Spotlights or Marvel Presents or something like that.
Okay.
And it had I didn't know it was Frank Miller, right? It was one of his early works. And it was striking, right? I mean, as a kid, you just go, whoa, what? I don't know what that is, but that is awesome, right? We all kind of have that moment, I think, with comic books where it's such a powerful medium, And so, I collected comic books a lot when I was a kid. And I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, big time. We had a bunch of group of people that played for maybe 10 years, on and off.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I think it all ended when we all went to college and things like that. But that was a big part of me. And then I was always the artist. you know, in high school, I was a pretty good artist. And I ended up going to a art school here in Detroit called Center for Creative Studies. And it's a pretty well-known school. And I ended up studying graphic design and then studying illustration. So I have, my background is in that stuff, and I even worked in an illustration studio for a couple of years.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that worked in the studio were like, they were damn good, and some of these guys had like 50 different styles, right? So the rule in the studio was you can't copy someone else's style and make money on it, right? So let's just hypothetically say they were like very graphic designy and they had a cool way of drawing characters, right?
All right.
You couldn't do that, right? So some people had so many styles, and I was just a beginner, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm lost. I don't, how am I going to compete with these guys? Unbelievable, right?
Right.
And they would do animatics for car commercials and things of that nature, which was really a lot of, I know a lot of comic book guys do animatics and storyboards, right? And it's a great way to train in a basic way to learn how to draw people and environments and whatever. So I ended up going into animation after that. And I worked as an assistant in a post-production house, basically making like commercials and trade show stuff, like auto show stuff, right? And I worked on a system called the Flame, which was for about 15 years. It was they used it to do movies as well.
Okay, all right.
Right, it's a compositing software, but you did animation, you did motion graphics. And you could do chroma keys, and you could do tons of stuff, right? And then I ended up going freelance, and I ended up doing that for a long time. And at one point, I needed. This goes back to the end. So some people might know, and some people might not know, is that I'm creating my comic book Shadowpunk, but I also have an animated movie that goes along with it. And the animated movie is already done. I finished that last year. So the animated movie is it looks like a Pixar movie, kind of, right? And it's not as awesome as a Pixar movie, but I moved heaven and earth to get it as awesome as I could possibly get it, right? And so when I launch, people are going to be able to watch the animated movie for free. And it's sort of the origin. It's a preamble to the comic book. So the girl who's Shadowpunk, you will see her before all things go to hell, and she's traveling with her family overland in a horse and carriage. And the world that she lives in is like it's an apocalyptic type scenario where you don't know what happened, but things have been totaled, right? And she's traveling. Well, she doesn't realize this, but they're traveling past Detroit and what's left of Detroit. And her family, they don't realize that they're being set up in the story. That they were sold a story about a land of milk and honey, but it isn't going to work out that way. And they don't know it yet. So I wanted to make a story about Detroit because I'm familiar with it, right? I grew up here. I live like if anybody's ever watched the movie 8 Mile with Eminem. Okay, right, 8 Mile. Which is the border of Detroit and the neighborhoods. I live at 12 Mile. So just to give people out there listening to the conversation, they might have a visual picture in their mind, right? So I wanted to make a story about the things I know. And so when I was developing the story and trying to figure out, how am I going to illustrate this world of Detroit in this crazy future, I went down to Detroit and took tons of photos. Right? They have tons of old churches down there. They're famous kind of for their churches. And what I want to do, I don't want to go on too many tangents, but I want to find a way to get a drone, so I can
all right.
take photos from above.
Right.
Like, let's just say she's perched on the edge of a building,
Mm-hmm.
right? They might arrest me if I tried to do that down there, but I would like to try to do it. You know, I know some people are probably saying you can go on Google Maps or something. You know, maybe that's true. You know, but I'm crazy. I want to do stuff like that. You know. Anyway, so back to my origin. So I ended up wanting to learn how. I always knew how to do motion graphics and compositing and effects, but I wanted to start telling my own stories. And one of the big influences for me was the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right? If you've ever seen it, especially in the first early episodes, it was kind of rudimentary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people weren't boxes, but they weren't super realistic either.
No,
And
they were seriously stylized, I guess is the word.
yeah, but as the time went on, they became more and more in depth, and more detailed, and way better animation. Lighting is better,
Mm-hmm.
so I watched that and I saw the possibilities of simple storytelling. I thought, even with their simple approach, which is hard to do, man, you could tell stories with people, and that was the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to teach myself how to do character animation, as they call it, because it's very different than doing motion graphics. It's like jet engines and propeller engines. They're two different animals, right? They're not the same thing. So
Well, what's an example of motion graphics then?
motion graphics would be graphics you would see on TV, like the simplest section would be on you see the news graphics where the text comes up and but I would do things like car commercials, or sometimes I would do things like I would do roto work. So what they would do is they would have let's say when they go out and film the cars every year, they would film the truck driving down the street, right?
Okay.
And but you could see the camera from the truck filming it in the reflection, right? You can see the people with the camera next to the car in the reflection of the car they're filming. So I would have to paint out. So for example, let's say you're filming a red Corvette, right?
All right.
If you're next to the car and the car is shiny,
Okay.
you can see the people with the camera like a mirror.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So they wanted that out, and I would do but the problem is, you can't just paint it out, and you have to, for example, if you're 10 feet away from the red Corvette and things are moving, you have to track the thing moving, not the red Corvette, right? So it gets crazy. It's like, and if I stood in front of you outside your house you would get it like this, you would instantly recognize what I'm talking about. But either way, I would paint that stuff out and make it look like the reflection's clean, and I would do things like that, or I would put, simple things like putting hubcaps, the right wheel on the car, because they changed it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I would do a lot of roto work and compositing and stuff. But the character animation is very different. It's okay. So not only do you have to do all the technical things to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when you move the arm, the fingers move, and things are rigged up, right?
Sure.
But let's just say you have all that done, and then you're ready to animate. You have to make that look like it's alive.
Oh yeah.
Which is easier. It's easier said than done. Come to find out, right? One of those things in life where you just go, "That looks so easy" when I watch Star Wars, but this is going to take more than I thought. And then you have to do lip sync, I had my friends and my family record voices for me.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'd never done lip sync before.
Mm.
Right. And so that's craziness. That's kooky craziness. You're like, so anyway, it took me probably 4 years to make the animation.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know what I was doing or what I was thinking when I came to the idea that I was going to actually do that, because it's insane. For example, I'll give you a good example. The character, my main character, Shadowpunk, in the preamble, or the story, the animation, she doesn't have her Shadowpunk armor on. She's a normal kid, right? So I had to design her, and I knew she was my main character. I knew that when people look at her, you're going to have to be able to look at her face and relate to it. And if it looks weird, people are going to tune out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to be enough to capture the imagination of people watching. So I probably made 10 different versions of her until I finally got it right. It probably took me 9 months to do her the right way.
You mean the concept art, creating her look?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But I didn't, the normal way they do it, and a lot of the people who listen to the conversation might recognize this, is they'll have somebody design out and draw it out first, and they'll do 20 different versions and pick and work it out that way. So by the time you get to building the physical character in a 3D program, you figured out all the design stuff, right? This is how normal, logical people do it. Right? This is not what I did. All right. But but it also helped me because I had to learn how to do all the CG stuff. And it helped me to do it over and over, helped me learn how to do it, And unfortunately, it's that 10,000 hour rule. You're not a master at something until you do it for 10,000 hours. And then you know it inside and out. Right? That's kind of the rule of thumb, I think. So
did you actually keep track to see if it took you 10,000 hours?
Well, oh man, it's almost hard to for my brain to wrap around it. I think I did for the whole thing.
Okay.
Because I ended up, what's 4 years times 15 times 12 a day?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I'm an artist. I don't do math, but it's got to be close, don't you think? I mean, yeah. So it was crazy. And then when I was done with it, I thought, what else can I think I've got something interesting here. And I've been watching Ethan Van Sciver's a stream for a long time, and which I'm sure you have too. He's an interesting guy, and I thought, because I saw what he did. He had his own idea, and then he created a project around it. And I thought, what if I could try to do that? And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, he also said, why don't you just do a comic book? I said, I haven't drawn in a long time. I did go to art school, but it's been a long time. The horse, that I fell off the horse type of thing. You got to get back onto it, or the bike. And so it took me a while to ramp up to drawing again, but now I'm in it, right? I'm totally into it, right? So yeah, it's awesome. Would it help for people that haven't seen the project? Would it help to play my trailer?
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a minute. Let me catch up on chat here. General P says, thank you, good sir. No problem.
The general.
Carol's Cookie says, hiya.
Hey.
General Piggy says, that animated movie looks legit from what I've seen. Have you ever Kentucky Fried Movie? That's been a long time. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it though.
You had to check it out. It's worth a watch. Welcome, John Say. How's it going, Wise? And hey, Shadow.
Hey, what's up, John?
Doing good. I don't know where else to see this, but it looks phenomenal.
Thank you.
Your
Thanks, X.
Twitter. Follow Shadowpunk on Twitter.
That's cool.
Yes, I love Kentucky Fried Movie. Every time he says Detroit, I keep wanting to put, no, not Detroit.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's the Detroit we all know and love. He is accurate.
So you've got this cool looking project called Shadowpunk. And it's about one hero against a city of evil. And you're suggesting we join the fight. So let's check out this trailer here. Shall we? Shall we?
There you go. Oh, this is the one I did for the comic book.
Sweet.
So that would be motion graphics.
That's motion graphics. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh. All right.
And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the you can watch the other trailer for the animation.
This one right here, right?
That's the one.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go.
My God, that's so badass.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that one probably took me about 7 months to do.
Mm.
And then the other one probably took me like 6 or 8 weeks.
So, all right. So this was what, 54 seconds, and that took you how long?
About 7 months.
7 months. And then the whole 9-minute movie, like are you saying the trailer took? Wait, hold on. Unless I'm backwards on my math, the 9-minute animated movie took way longer than the trailer, right?
Yeah, the animated movie took about 4 years.
Oh wow.
And I would say 4 years. It could be longer, it could be shorter because of things that happen in life.
Yeah, sure.
But it was craziness. It was kooky craziness. And as a guy from Michigan, I'll say it was kooky craziness.
Kooky craziness.
Right? It was definitely a thing like there is no plan B. Right? Do it, do it and make it cool, right?
That's awesome, though.
So with the animated movie, it's about 9 minutes long, but I was gonna do it 22 minutes, and I realized at a certain point that I'm never gonna get that done. Right? This filled up my hard drive. My 6 terabytes.
6 terabytes. Oh my gosh.
Because it's all high. It's all high format files, right? So you don't lose quality as you composite and you animate and stuff. So yeah, just and I'm sure like you probably are familiar with this idea too, is that a lot of times people have the finished product is the tip of the iceberg, right? You threw out a bunch of stuff that you never ended up using, which is what happened to me too, right? Ideas you never used, which is typical of creative people. I mean, it's not a science; it's an art form,
Right.
And it was. I was listening to some people talk the other day about creators and their projects, and they were like, everybody thinks that their new project is going to be the coolest project ever, and I'm like, yeah, you have to have that mentality. If you don't have that mentality, then why bother doing it? Because sure, it isn't going to be like George Lucas made it. I understand that, but you have to think that what you're producing is the coolest thing. And so if you shoot for 1,000%, you'll get 100%, or you'll get 200%. That's my mentality. When I started, my 100%, I blew that away a long time ago. What I got to 900% by the time I was done, right? Quality and my skills going up, And because what would happen is I would do stuff and I would go, that's cool. I have to go back and change the other stuff now. Right. Which is a typical artist problem. Never satisfied, always revising things to make them better. But so the story, you in the animation, you'll meet her family.
Okay.
Right. You'll meet her mom and her dad, and you'll meet her little brother. And you'll also meet they're in this caravan she's traveling in. You get the impression that they all know that she's a pain in the ass. She's a troublemaking kid, kind of a little bit, And the people that are traveling behind her know this, and they're irritated by her. So you'll see in the animation that they are taking pot shots at her and causing trouble to no end for her. So yeah, it's. I tried I've never written anything ever. This comic book and the animation are the first things I've ever written.
Wow.
So that was a very different process, because I don't know if you're a writer or not.
No, not really. I'm more of an artist.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, I would watch movies and try to figure out how they make their movies, right?
Yeah.
So and then
it, reverse engineer it.
Absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of people do just what I did, But I learned so much about movies when I was doing this stuff that blew my mind, the layering that they put in movies, the subconscious things they put in movies, And so I knew I wasn't going to be Stanley Kubrick, but I knew that I could at least make this the best I could make it,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you need that passion, that determination to push yourself, and in many cases serve as your driving force to keep at it, instead of just stopping at the next tough spot in the project.
That's
if you want to see it to fruition, you just got to keep pushing yourself.
You know what? That is 100% true, and it's pushing through that stuff where you become better, right? And it's sometimes it's really a challenge, but
it's kind of like being a character in a video game. It's like, all right, so I'm confronted with this obstacle. You play that level over and over and over, and it's like, oh, there's a light bulb that flashes on, and it's like, okay, what I need to do to tackle this is do this, and then that, and then this. And then you pass the level, and it's like another notch on your belt. It's like acquiring a new skill. It's like gaining a new achievement. And now you've got that at your disposal.
Well, what you're describing reminds me of, if you remember the game Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Right. You would go. So not only did that happen, what you described, you would also go, oh, wow, this is how the game is thinking. They're putting the tricks and the traps and the puzzles. You start, so you're learning as you go. And you're right. You do become a little bit smarter as to how to get this thing done. So, but you know, it's funny. A lot of people in this world have jobs where they do what they're told, or they move thing from A to point B, or their job is to be very careful and scientific, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our job as artists is not that. Our job is to do exactly what you described. Is to push ourselves, you know, beyond our limit, and see what happens. Just, you know, it's like throwing stuff at a wall. And part of the main one of the most important skills any artist can have is your eye, learning to spot things that work and learning to spot things that don't work. You know, I would like this. You can see this image right here of this is the cover, by the way. That's kind of grayed out back there. But I was working on that image, and I first colored it like her skin color, the helmet's gray, you know, and then I was like, you know, she's Shadowpunk, and I wanted to do something 70s-esque, you know, 80s-esque. So I thought, what about like one of those velvet posters?
Yes.
You know, I wanted to tap into that stuff, and I might even do other things in the comic book where you tap into. I'm not saying there's going to be a disco villain, but there will be cool stuff like that where you will go, there's a little bit of that right there, you know?
Right on.
Yeah. So it's just, it's such a fun process, you know, working on Shadowpunk.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
So the last year I've been working on promotional images, and I did 4 original pages all to color, done, and then I rewrote the whole story because that's how I am. I'm crazy. So those 4 are going to be shifted to the next issue. So I had to start over, right? So I've been jamming on doing pages and getting my skills up to make those look as cool as possible. And I already have some done in full color, but I have more. I'm working on more. I've got more done already. So
by when you said initially you had several pages in full color, are you talking about going back to where you were saying, you know, you had her skin color and all that stuff before you went to the black velvet painting look aesthetic?
Well, sort of, because I think in the comic book, in the normal story, a lot of it's going to be natural colored.
Okay,
you know, it's going to be skin colors. But what I'm thinking, I, you know, call me crazy, but I really like the blue and the red thing, and it's my color scheme, and I love it. And what I think I might do is incorporate that into scenarios where, for
that'll
example,
work. Yeah,
for example, nighttime, or like hyper violent scenes or hyper, you know, intense scenes. Maybe that'll shift, boom, and you'll see that kind of impact, you know. Coloring is tough, man. I don't know how much coloring you've done in your life.
Very little.
It's a whole different thing. And I respect all the colors big time. So one of the things I did in the last year also to teach myself to color was I've been finding other artists who are masters and coloring their works. So I did a lot of Ethan Van Sciver work, and I colored his stuff. I did some Jim Lee stuff, you know.
You took some of their black and white images?
Yes.
And colored it.
Yeah. Ethan actually has a coloring book that he sells for
kids. Yeah, I've got that.
So I bought that, and I got images out of that, and I figured I'm going to color those. And I think they came out pretty good. I was like, this is helping me quite a bit. And I know that Kyle Ritter is off the hook crazy good. And, you know, I looked at his stuff. I'm like, you know, he's really making this thing sing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that stuff is gorgeous. So I thought, that's my goal. That's my barometer is to match that level of quality, you know? But I think Kyle Ritter's probably been doing it for decades, right?
I actually don't know. It was just one of those things early in Comicsgate where, you know, I guess he had some skills he'd acquired over time. I don't know how long, or I don't remember how long.
Well,
and then he shared some of his samples to EVS, and EVS was interested and brought him on board.
oh, is that it?
That's my understanding.
Wow. Well, that's really awesome. No, if you told me that he's a brand new, he's a natural beginner and he just started, I would break my heart.
I really don't know,
because that would crush me after all
I
that
know
work.
he's talented, but well, I mean, even if that were the case, and I don't know if it is. Again, I don't remember how he started, but what was I going to say? But it's like,
Well, that was the idea.
you know, there are people out there who are like natural talents. You know,
Right.
they're like born with the ability somehow.
That's true.
And it's just like all the planets are in alignment, and there are literally people out there with just massive, mad skills, and you know, they just take to it naturally.
Yeah. It's a good point because coloring was challenging for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like composition is not. I think drawing is a challenge for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we all have. You're right. We all have our own aptitudes. You know, and but I think the idea is to turn your weakness into a strength.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of what I tried to do over the last year is to build up my Twitter channel and let people see my coloring work. And then then I started putting out my, you know, my pencils and whatnot, or my images I created. And so my process is very different than the normal comic book artist. I draw my stuff out, but I ink everything in Adobe Illustrator.
Okay.
Which is probably suicide for most people. I mean, it's
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, have you ever used Illustrator?
No.
It's all vector based, so you're not drawing. You know how like in Photoshop, it's pixels, right?
Right.
So Illustrator is vector. It's all shapes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gray unless you color the shape gray. Everything is a shape. Nothing is like a pixel. Right. But I've been using Illustrator my whole life.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like that. I think that's part of my blood. So I thought, you know, I can't really ink like Scott Williams. So what the heck am I going to do? You know, I mean, I can't learn how to do the comic and learn how to ink like a master because that is a skill unto itself. Right. I mean,
yeah, I was just going to add that even if, well, yeah, I can see that there would be challenges trying to draw in vectors because with vector art, you're talking about an image that you create a shape, and one of the advantages of vector images is that you can resize it as big or as small as you want and the quality remains intact, right?
Yep.
But to actually turn that into something fluid and easily controlled as you can with pixels, that becomes a challenge.
Well, it was. You're totally right. And I draw on my sketch pad, I scan that in, then I ink it, and then I color it in Photoshop.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you do a melding, a merge of traditional and digital.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, it's kind of cool. Maybe it gives it'll give my book a little different feel, you know. And it's the most comfortable medium for me, a way of doing that stuff, you know. So yeah, I don't know how many images I sent you. Did I send you images of the artwork?
Let me check.
Because I can. Oh, go ahead. If you share, I can actually show you a bunch of them too.
You didn't send me any.
Okay.
Which
Can
is
I?
fine.
Is it okay if I hit share?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to catch up on chat. Hexalon drops the link for, oh, of course, YouTube. Duh, Melvin. Shadowpunk trailer.
Yep.
Do you have a bunch of other content created? Are you building an audience with your YouTube channel?
No, I mean the YouTube channel, I haven't used it in that way, but I want to, but man, I'm so like busy on the comic book that
Mhm.
like doing what you're doing is like a whole nother thing I got to learn, right? And I'm like, oh, I can't do that, right?
Well, I mean, if you ever have questions, let me know.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah. I'll share that in a sec. I want to catch up on chat.
Okay, yep, absolutely.
Thanks for dropping the links, guys. Mods. Carol's Cookie says, sweet. These are comments after watching your animated
Oh, thanks, Carol.
movie. And excellent work. Carol says, as the saying goes, red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in morning, sailor's warning. You could work that into your story with the color red, maybe, but obviously not a sailor.
No, that's a cool idea, man. I should say I thought of that already because it's a cool thing. I'm gonna do that.
That is nice. That's very nice. Let's jump over to your shared screen.
Okay. So
Holy crap.
So this is like a promotional poster I made.
All right.
So you can see Shadowpunk here.
Uh-huh.
And these are characters from the animated movie.
Okay.
And this guy back here and this guy back here are from the comic book.
Uh-huh.
This guy is going to turn out to be her mentor.
Huh.
And I have another version of him I'll show you. He's her, like, have you ever seen the show Batman Beyond?
Yeah, I caught pieces here and there.
So there's the young kid who's the new Batman, and then
yes,
right,
and then
so,
Bruce Wayne is the mentor, right?
Right, and I love that show. Hang me or crucify me, right? I love that show, and
nothing wrong with that. The animation style just did not appeal to me.
Yeah,
I had a hard time grasping that.
So that's going to be the relationship between him and her.
Okay, all right.
And it'll be a confrontational relationship.
Cool. Carol says you can take the credit for the idea. Wink.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's
That's
see.
Nice.
So I'll show you some pictures from the animated movie. This is her father.
Out of curiosity, what are the resolutions on these kinds of images? Are you going like DPI?
It's all video is 72 DPI.
72 DPI. Okay.
So if you want something to look great, you have to render it even larger.
Okay.
Right. This is a disapproving mother, by the way. And that's part of the story. This is one of the monsters from the animation.
Oh wow. My gosh. Look at all the work you put into it. That's nice.
That's her.
Mira. Oh, okay. All right. The protagonist.
Yep. Let's see. Let's see if I can show you something here. Here's a poster. I made a couple different posters for the animated movie. So here's one poster I made.
Oh man.
So that's like the one world on the left and the one world on the right. I'm sure that's clear to people. But so same, obviously her normal and then her when she becomes Shadowpunk.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Huh. You know what? That image kind of gives me vibes of some of at least the more recent Star Wars posters.
Yep.
You got the light side and the dark side.
Yep. Yep.
And
So I'm a big Drew Struzan fan who does all the posters who did all the posters for Star Wars. So I can't escape. Like he did the Indiana Jones poster, right?
oh hell yeah!
I can't escape that thing because I grew up with it. So
I love that style of posters.
it's so much
They're
fun.
just so cool.
It's like a perfect type of movie poster.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
And I made another one. This is another one I made just to see what I could make, honestly.
Cool.
And this is you can see how the sun has like the haze.
All right.
That's a very movie poster type of thing too, I think. You know.
Yeah.
And so this.
Wait, are those twin moons? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it could right. It's Tatooine. So I spent when I was making the movie, I built this chopper in 3D. Right, it took me forever. Right, the thing took me forever. But when you watch the animated movie, it's only in one scene, and you almost don't even see it. And I'm like, I gotta use it. Right after all that work, I gotta use it. So I put it in the poster.
How many cc's is that engine?
10 billion. Yeah, totally. It's a good question. I don't know anything about bikes.
Did you get any tips from Orange County Choppers or
no? But
the design.
I might have, because when I was making it, I said, what can I make? What's cool for this guy to have a chopper? And so I did kind of look at bikes like that, crazy bikes,
Yeah,
which are super awesome. I'm not a bike person, but man, they are awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I love the theme bikes, especially.
And they're works of art, right?
Yeah. Welcome, Bakame LLC. Hail to the room. Hail to thee, WyzGyz and Shadowpunk.
Cool. I can't see him because I'm looking at my screen.
No, that's good. That's all. It's all good. That's why I read them aloud. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Is this oh, all right. So Shadowpunk. Are they? Is this the protagonist or is this the? Oh wait, or is this the mentor?
This is the mentor.
The mole. So is he making adjustments or corrections on a 3D GUI interface like you would in what's that one movie with
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Minority Report.
That's the one.
So I'm not going to answer your question because it'll give away parts of the story.
Okay, all right.
But
that's fair enough.
This guy is her mentor, and he actually has a real name, but he goes by the mole because of the way he lives. He's been in the city of Detroit. There's a guild that runs the city, and it's an evil guild that has a lockdown on everything. And they're running like slavery operations, and they have all the people corralled in their ghettos, kind of thing. And he's been fighting the guild for decades, and just like old man Wayne, right? He at this point he's been losing the fight. And so he needs a champion to do what he can't do, and that's where she comes into play. But the first issue is going to be how she becomes Shadowpunk.
All right, yeah.
Right? It's not gonna happen like that. And that in and of itself is the fun part. That is the story.
Sure.
So he was super fun to make. Here's a cover this is the first cover that I did. And so this is obviously, you can see it's not the blue and the red, but it it's not pure blue and red, but after I did this one, I'm like, this is kind of cool, but I want more. I want a striking image for the cover. Right. That was my logic. Looks
like the character's throwing a bladed weapon.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, right?
That's okay. Part of my campaign. So as you know, I do 3D animation, right? So I also create my own sculpts. For years, I've made like miniatures in 3D, and I've printed them.
Oh, you got a 3D printer too?
Yeah. So this I'm going to sell her as a miniature.
Holy moly! Oh, hell yeah! Hell yeah! That's awesome. Sold. That's bitching. I love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah. So for years I've made my own HeroClix. You probably never play HeroClix.
I never played it. I'm familiar with what it is.
Right. It's a major geek thing, right? I mean, it's geek and then plus geek, right? So I've made my own characters for years. Like the company never made like I made Old Man Hulk from the Old Man Logan comic.
They never made them.
They never made them, and I think
That's weird.
I'm gonna make one, you know. So when it came to this, I'm like, I was talking to Michael Bancroft, and he was kind of helping me out with getting used to the whole thing because I had no idea how to do this stuff. And he's like, and I mentioned, you know, maybe I'll do something like this because that's to make my thing unique.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's kind of like I love doing it, and you know, this took maybe this one probably took about 60 hours, right? But once you're done, you know. And
that's the is that the digital 3D model itself?
Correct. Yes.
Have you printed up some of these already?
Yes. I just got my 3D printer.
All right.
I've been pulling my hair out, trying to get it to work correctly.
Okay.
And I think I got it right. I printed some of her out already. And a weird thing with miniatures that people listening to the show might know or not know is that when things are small, things like this aren't that prominent anymore, right? When it's 3 inches or 4 inches tall, that spike looks very small. So I had to go back and create those to be larger, or things like that, right? I made things more exaggerated so that you reads clearly when it's small.
So did you have to enlarge the entire 3D model?
No, I just went back and I made the stars bigger than normal. I made the shooters bigger than normal. I made the spikes in the eyes larger than normal, you know. It's going to be about 4 inches tall.
4 inches tall.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And I want to show you this.
Was one of the challenges having to decide mentally how you're going to separate it into pieces so that it can print? Because something like that, I don't think you can do all in one blow. I could be wrong, but
no, you're 100% correct.
This looks like you'd have to do the base as one, the pole that holds her up as another, the wings as another, and her body. Let me see. Possibly her head is one, and then her arms and torso is another, and their legs last.
Well, the way I ended up doing it is everything is one. Okay, her entire body is one piece with the wings.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And then the base is separate, and then I have a connecting pole.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to print out. The other thing too is when I print these out, I'm going to print out clear resin right here.
Oh,
and then so I'm going to glue those. I made sure they can stick in, right?
Okay, all right.
That's you know. But you know, the thing you just described is it's a lot to wrap your head around, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was for me. I'm like, how does this work, and how thick is this rod going to be?
Yeah.
And you know. So, but I want to show you this other one I did for Ethan a while back. I did his Salamandroid guy.
Oh my gosh. You were the one who did this one.
Yeah. And he came out really good. I liked him a lot.
So, do you know if he's using it or is that like top secret?
I don't know. I know he has the one. I gave him one. I printed one for him.
Oh, all right. All right.
This one here.
So did you paint that?
Yeah.
Dang. That turned out great, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
How tall is it?
He's probably about 3.5 inches tall.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That's my keyboard and that's my thing. But you
Oh
know,
yeah, your monitor. Okay.
you know, but this was before I had a 3D printer, so he was expensive to get printed.
Whoa.
I'm like, oh man, this is crazy, right?
Wait, so you hired a service to make it for you? You provided the 3D model and then they made it for you? Is that
That's right. Yeah.
okay? All right.
Yeah. And then you know, a lot of times they'll send it back and say this is too thin, it won't print, or something like that, right? And and I ended up making for fun, I made a Cyberfrog one.
Oh, cool. Oh my gosh. Talk about detail. Damn. You even have the little glowy discs for when he's painting himself in.
Yep. I didn't know how else to do that, right?
Oh my gosh. That's a trip. That's neat. I like that.
Let's see if I can I painted them. I have a picture of him painted. Oh, here it is.
Roughly, oh neat. Roughly how long does it take for you to paint a model?
Maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Do you use brushes or do you use an airbrush or a combination or
brushes? Yeah.
I heard that when you do paint these kinds of models, you have to expect to use very thin paints and then you do it in multiple layers.
That's right. That's how I do it too.
Okay.
But there are some people now that are using oil paint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they can slide the colors around easily.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I'm like, that's somebody's really getting into it, right?
Well, yeah, and then once you finally come to a color scheme you like, then you've got to wait, what, another 10 hours or something, or 24, 48 hours for the oil paint to fully dry?
That is an excellent question. I have a feeling that they have a workaround. Because if they don't, then they have to deal with what you just described, right?
Yeah, maybe they have an additive like what you can put in like some paints, I guess, where it speeds up the drying process.
That could be, you know what? That could be true because I think I've heard that they have stuff like that for oil paint.
And then Takame says, HeroClix was a great game, brilliant concept in miniature gameplay. These look impressive. Shadowpunk, what 3D software did you use to create these?
I use 3ds Max, which is kind of the Ford of 3D animation. It's been around for a long time. And then I use a program called Mudbox, which is just like Photoshop, but you have a 3D model that you're holding in front of you and you move it around and you can paint different on layers, just like Photoshop. And then you can also sculpt in that program too. So you can take 3D models and move it around like clay. And if you saw it in action, you would instantly understand how simple it is. Right?
Really?
Yeah. ZBrush is the most popular version of sculpting and painting programs. But I use Mudbox because because of Autodesk. Autodesk makes 3ds Max and so I use their product. But yeah, it's a great program, and Mudbox is so much fun, man. Just painting, just sculpting characters. Sculpting my characters that I made was so much fun, right? So if as an artist, you probably have been drawing characters for a long time, right?
Well, I started like when I was younger, somewhere between the ages of 8 and 18. And then I was at that stage where, the family suggested I try and go into a career, find myself a career that I could earn money at.
All right.
And
good idea.
You see where I'm going there. And then, they really felt I had talent in the art area, but at the same time, they wanted me to use that as a backup or, continue practicing as a hobby. So I got into IT and have been in that for 28 years. And when I learned about Comicscape, I got like that fire lit in my belly
Yeah.
that said, it's time to return to drawing.
Oh, cool.
Mrs. Good Stuff, welcome. Hi, guys. Hello, Mrs. Good Stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be on their show next Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be fun, too.
Fantastic.
Um,
Yeah, good people.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because if you've been drawing for a long time, when you start doing 3D sculpting of characters, you understand the physical body of a person. So I quickly understood I could do it. I'm like, I could do this. Oh my gosh. I can sculpt arms and faces. And, you know, they weren't Michelangelo at first, but I got way better fast, real fast. And it was years of drawing characters and whatnot, you know, just like you know.
Is did you say it was called Mudbox, that program where you do all your molding and design? Oh, actually, no, you're using 3DFS Max.
Yes, it is Mudbox. Mudbox is where you do the sculpting and the painting, and then 3ds Max is a all-encompassing program where you would build the scenes and then render them. Does that make sense?
And do you import your sculptures from Mudbox into 3ds Max?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll show you a screen of my real simple if I can find it here. Oh, here we go. So here's a screen of a typical 3ds Max scene.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you can see the light. These are lights over here, and you can see she's hanging from the back of the wagon. This wagon took a month to make, right? And this is what it looks like as you're working. But when you hit render, it'll look like this. Let's see if I can find it. I have that scene, I think.
Yeah, because all those different colors represent like different pieces of the body and different handles to control the location of their limbs and stuff.
Yes. And for people that if you have to show the textures in the screen in the skin while you're working, it eats up your memory of your computer.
Oh,
so
that makes sense.
So most software has a way of showing you like a quarter size version of the texture, but but her skin and whatnot, you can't see. You can see that it's all grayed out, right? But you know, she's extremely detailed. She has freckles, right? Her eyes are like 4K textures. I made her eyes like really high res.
Whoa.
You know, but that's kind of what the interface looks like. And it looks like Chinese to people that don't really use the program, right? You're like, what the heck, man? But people that don't use Photoshop think the same thing about what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same thing. The day you start working in a 3D program, you go, oh yeah, I get it.
I hope so.
You would, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just like Photoshop, but it's got its different tools, So yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. Let's see if I can show you different images that I have here.
Oh my gosh, Mrs. Good Stuff says it's going to be a fun time. Indeed.
So I made a bunch of different promotional images. This is another one, and throughout the year, trying to figure out how I could promote the comic and come up with the style too, right?
All right.
Like the guy you had on the interview, what was it? The First Man.
Yeah.
I could tell he'd been doing it for a long time. He was a pro, man. He was like, and I'm figuring that out right now, or at least I have been for the last year, how to do this kind of stuff, So, so here's one of the early pages, the first pages I did that I had to push to the second issue.
Oops. Oops. Let me get back there. Oh.
So I was like, I had them all done, and I figured, this won't work for the story. So I've got to go back and save them for another time. But I learned a lot, doing them, and dang it. So here's one of the interior. This is page number 1 of my comic right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's an owl, right?
and then
Just kidding.
right. Here's page number 2, another owl shot.
Ah, nice. I like how you break the borders and don't stay totally refined within the box.
Yeah, I'm gonna do more of that because I've been watching how other great artists do it, and I'm like, I like that, man. That's really cool.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I'm gonna pick my moments where I'm gonna break the boundary, and to cut off the owl's wing would be crazy stupid.
Oh yeah, for
Right,
sure.
right. I mean, that's kind of how I first stumbled upon it. But I really enjoy making the frames blend together. How the because even if you watch like Jim Lee, every panel is, or Ethan, right? He'll do every panel works into the next one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it looks like it's natural, like it's like that's how it always is, And it's like no, he worked really hard to make it that way, and so I love that when they do it, and I want to do that too,
Sure.
Let's see. This is another page from the comic.
Yeah.
So she's gonna run into trouble living in the city, and the story's gonna show that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Wow. Mrs. Goodstuff says, you're in a great place to promote your work, and I'm hearing people talking about anticipating this book.
Oh, cool. I tell you what, it's nice to know that people are enjoying the stuff I'm making to any degree, right? Because I'm sure a lot of artists, you're living in a bubble when you're working on your project.
Mm-hmm.
It's typical problem, and you don't know what people respond to, what they like and what they don't like, and it's great to get feedback from people, and just because it's so crazy, man. You're like, I'm living right here in the side of this boot for a week, painting it and all that crazy stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
And drawing the people and everything, and you're like, you don't know if people are going to enjoy it. You just do what you do. And it's great to hear people that like it.
Yeah. Yeah. This community is something special. There are so many great creators, so many people who are willing and eager to help others try and avoid their mistakes.
Yes.
It's an amazing place for sure.
Michael Bancroft and Rob the Replicator,
Mm-hmm.
they both helped me out quite a bit, and a couple other guys too. They were like, because when I started, I was going to launch at the beginning of February,
Okay.
and they're like, dude, nobody even knows who you are. That might not be the wisest option. And I was like, I should listen to these guys. I think they're probably right. So I had to pull back and wait a second, and just try to figure out a better way to go about it. So it's worked out. They're like, you got to get a list of people to sign up. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they probably told you that, everything they're saying is spot on. You may already know that. She's the detail. That with Indiegogo and the early sign up list, it can be up for up to 6 months max. Once you hit the end of the 6th month, then You better make sure you have your email mailing list backed up. Supposedly you can export it to Excel, I think.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you don't go live when the 6 months is up, then you lose the entire page and the setup and all that stuff. So don't let that happen.
Yeah, I've got my list so far.
All right.
But I'm gonna launch sooner than that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's a good. You're totally right because
wondering.
yeah, I actually filled it out last year, and then exactly what you described right now, that they wiped it all out.
Oh.
So I didn't have any signatures because I didn't know how to do that stuff. But I learned that way, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. So
And Mrs. Good Stuff says this group of people will do whatever they can to advise you and will bend over backwards to help you fulfill.
I found that out to be really true, Miss Good Stuff, because that's one of the great things about the community in general, that people are very helpful, and they also there's a logic. People understand that if one person succeeds, other people, it'll help them as well, right? So if Ethan Van Sciver sells $8 million of books, then everybody else in the community will benefit because more eyes will be on his project. You know, it's that kind of logic, you know, and it made a lot of sense to me, you know, and not all industries are that way, right? A lot of industries are closed off, and they, you know, there are gatekeepers involved into doing things, and you know, I just want to do my thing and create cool stuff, but you know, sell it. But you have to learn how to sell your work and get it out there, and you know, you and I were just artists, right? We just do our thing, right? I mean, it's like, no, you got to do the other stuff too, man. It's you can't just sit at your desk and draw.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so
there's more to it than just that.
I also love the idea that independent creators can create their own projects. They don't need a big company to do it.
Yes, exactly.
I think a lot of people gravitate to that concept because it's also a very honest. You're not using anybody else to get your stuff done. It's all you, you know. And I love the idea that you are, you know, this is it. This is all, you know. I don't have a big promotional firm selling you this any other way. It's just you're getting the artist 100%, and that's all you get. I love that. I love that idea. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that really made me my ears perk up. I was like, wait a minute. So we don't have to go down the traditional route and bring our portfolios to Comic Cons and show them off to DC and Marvel. Excuse me. And beg and plead and try and, you know, beg them to give us a chance.
Right.
I was like, shit, man.
Yep. That's, to me, that is, I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience are thinking they've always recognized that fact, that this opened up a whole market, right? And you need somebody like Ethan or John Malin or somebody like the voice act. You need big names to be like the head of it.
Yes.
Because it opens up the doors for all the people. And it also opens up the doors for people that love it and want to have podcasts about it, right?
Yep.
I mean, you know, some people they're not actually creators. They just love doing that part of it. And, you know, by the way, all the artists need that too. They need help doing that stuff. So to me, I just love the fact that it's an honest way to create stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I love that because, you know, there's something about asking people to purchase your product and, you know, being straightforward. This is how cool my thing is. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? You know, you know, because there's a lot of industries I think that are involved. Like, for example, you know, if you had a car company, you can't really sell your car that easy, right? You're not GM, you're not Ford. And so the idea that you're going to break into that industry is insane. But you can do that with this kind of stuff. That's really alluring to me.
Yeah. For sure.
So you can. By the way, you can see the chopper back here.
All right.
You can barely see the chopper. You can see the exhaust pipe that's kind of chrome like, and you can see the shock, the things in the front, the shock and the headlight. But that's how little that you saw it.
Oh, right.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right, there we go.
Right. But when you're working on a 3D animation project like this, like I spent what'd you do for the last 2 days? I made a school bus, right? Oh, that's all you did? It took you a couple of days to make a school bus, and that's why it took so long.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're doing it solo, it's gonna take that long. You look at animation studios; they have crews of people.
Absolutely. I learned that the hard way myself, but it's like one of those things in life. You just have to learn it and take your hits while you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I really dig behind the scenes vignettes and things like that, and the extra features on DVD movies.
Oh, totally. You
Like,
know what the best one is? My
what?
personal favorite one was the one on The Incredibles. If you bought the original DVD, they showed that Brad Bird, the director, and he goes with the animators into their rooms and they're talking about how they make all the stuff. And it's so cool. They're talking with the writers, how they made up. They show you all the bad stuff they made until they came up with the good ideas.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which is,
those are fun.
And so I love that stuff too, man. I'm just always captivated. I want to see the compositing. I want to see all that stuff, right? So by the way, these two characters here, can you see those guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my nephew did the voice for him,
okay,
and then my stepfather did the voice for this guy. So
all right. So you had everyone in your immediate family play parts, right?
Basically. So my stepfather was an old Armenian guy.
All right.
Okay. Union worker type guy. And he was the biggest cornball ever. And most of the people that acted for me in the movie, they're normal people. They've never done acting, right?
Right,
like
right,
you
right.
or me, right? They don't, So my stepdad was the character of the month. He was unbelievable. And he had inflection in his voice. He was a natural actor. And he never saw the finished piece. He passed away because he was old.
Oh man.
But
Sorry
I showed him I showed him a little bit like a couple animation like early on stuff. And I'll show you one of the ones I showed him.
So what was his reaction?
He saw this. He really loved it. And this scene here, he saw it with no background or anything.
Okay. Oh, without any background either?
Well, I'm already in trouble. Let's have a little fun.
So that's part of it, right? That sounds like a short clip from the movie. And so turn off the audio.
But you showed him some footage of where he did his part, right?
No, I didn't. He only saw her like she was over black.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he, because there was no background at the time. But
all right.
But I knew that he wasn't going to be able to see it. And I think he was very, because he paid for me to go through art school.
Oh, wow.
This guy. Yeah. So, it was a big deal for him. I wanted to make sure that he saw it before he passed away. And, every time I watch after he passed away, I had to listen to him talk the character, right? For a long time, for a year, I had to listen, or 2 years, I had to listen to his character talk and talk and talk, which is crazy, right? Because you miss him because he passed away.
Right.
But it is what it is, right? That's how life works.
But you were also working on that animated segment of him, right?
Yeah, I'll show you this one right here. This is a short.
You can go louder if you want. You could probably go to max, unless it's just my speaker that's low.
Yeah, I cranked up too high.
Let me turn on my speaker, then go a little higher on my speaker, and you could do half volume, I guess.
Okay.
And we'll try that. All right. Did you increase your volume?
No, I lowered it.
Oh, all right. I was gonna
Yeah.
suggest you put yours at 50%.
But you get the idea, right? I mean, so I had to listen to him, his voice and everything for a long time, and it was kind of crazy, right? It was like, but I guess that's how life works out.
Yeah, that's a trip, man.
Anyway,
Mrs. Good Stuff says, how great, though, that you have forever captured his voice doing something he enjoyed for you.
Who said that?
Mrs. Good Stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. That really is, because you guys are probably the same way with your family.
Yeah.
People have passed away, and you're totally right. You're 100% nailed it. But during the middle of it, I didn't see it that way, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a different perspective. You're in a different frame of mind.
Right.
Yeah, you've got, you're flooded with emotion.
Yeah. So,
wow, man.
Yeah. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's a labor of love. And I figured, I want to give it away. If I can show people the animated movie to get them to relate to the character, it's really her story.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, why not do that and give that away for free? And maybe that will gravitate people to be interested in the book.
Now, is this like one of those movies you have like on YouTube, but you just have it privated, or?
Did you figure that out, didn't you?
It was just a big old guess.
That's exactly what it is. Right now it's private. But I wanted to upload it too, because I didn't want to lose it somehow.
Oh, yeah. So you have kind of a means of backup.
Yeah, kind of a means of backup for sure.
You can always do additionally like Rumble and BitChute.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or put it on like a Google Drive.
Well, at one point my computer went down when I was working on the project.
Oh man!
And I lost I back it up often, but I lost about 2 weeks of work.
Whew, and even 2 weeks, that's a chunk.
It's a chunk, but it could have been worse. And it was all my fault. It wasn't the fault of any other machinery or anything. You ever hear that phrase, just enough to do damage?
Yeah.
That applies here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was trying to fix something on my computer, and I did the wrong thing, and it wiped out the hard drive. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's after the fact, but if something like that were to happen again, and you really had no, and you're having a hard time trying to recover it, I guess this is kind of like a shameless plug. I'm also an authorized reseller for Drive Savers.
Oh, yeah?
The company who does major recovery for, like, they took a lot of animated footage that was done by the people who do The Simpsons, and they were able to recover the data from the hard drive.
Really?
Lost, yeah.
Well, I'm sure your audience doesn't want to get into how my whole thing was rated. It was a rated drive.
Oh, right.
But the way it was set up, the parity was set up that it didn't mirror it the right way.
Oh no.
Yeah,
oh,
but
man. There's this for anyone who is kind of new to computers. There's this formatting called RAID, where you often use multiple hard drives in like a bay setup, and any data that's written to one drive is mirrored across the other whatever number of drives. So if you have 4 hard drives, you write your data, you back up your data to the first drive, and the same data is also backed up to the other 3 drives.
Yeah.
But there are various ways of configuring a RAID. Wow, that's like the nuts and bolts of it all.
So it's funny. I was on a while back. I was on another podcast just talking to people about whatever, and I was the one guy's like, he said, well, your 3D models, you just buy them, right? I'm like, no. I make them out of simple boxes because that's the only way I know how to do it. That I do it from the ground up.
You make them out of boxes. I thought they all started as wireframes.
Well, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
So that's like, for example, for the sculpt, I started with a simple box of the arms, and then you subdivide those so they get more mesh dense, and they the more dense they are, then you can start to turn those shapes into things that you can sculpt them. So the arm looks like an arm, the face, the face is like a face, right?
Oh, so it's like, yeah, so it's like taking blocks of clay, lumping the pieces together, and then slowly shaving off pieces of clay to reveal more rounded shapes.
Yeah, these things like mechanical things are done with modeling, where you just literally you want it to be smooth and accurate. But when you do things like the face, for example, you want that to look organic, right? So that stuff like that you would sculpt. I would take that. I took this low res shape into Mudbox and started moving it around and making it look like our face, right?
Oh.
And so then I would bring it all back into here, and these things are like primitive shapes from the program. Cones.
Yeah, cones and cubes and.
But anyway, so once I posted my sculpt, people were like, that's really cool. Could you make me one of my character? And by the way, I would love to make it. I'm desperate to make it, right? One guy wants me to make his character, and I'm like, dude, I can't do it right now. I'm so busy with Shadowpunk. I'm trying to launch. I'm working like 15 hours a day.
Oh man.
And I'm like, I got no time. But I'm gonna do it eventually. But I desperately want to do this guy's character. And the one guy that asked me, the Tiger Blue comic book.
Tiger Blue.
The people in the chat know what it is. Tiger Blue it just launched like last week or 2 weeks ago, and the tiger, he looks like a giant tiger with huge claws, right? And he look almost like the Hulk, right? He's that big. He's like, could you make my guy? And I'm like, dude, I can't do it, but your guy is so kick ass. I want to sculpt that guy right now, and I would make it just like this, like I'm like these frames here. I would that guy would he'll rip through steel. By the time I'm done with him, he'll be ripping through steel. That's how cool he would look. But I can't, I can't do it. At least not right now.
Mrs. Good Stuff says, gotta run. Have a great night. Take it easy, Mrs. Good Stuff. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for hanging with us. For those who haven't yet, be sure and sign up on the early sign up list for Steam. Excuse me, for Shadowpunk. Let me see. Let me momentarily jump back to the other thing that I'm sharing. Shadowpunk is on pre-launch. One hero against the city of evil. Join the fight. First day backers get an exclusive Shadowpunk trading card. So get in on the signing list. For those of you who may not be familiar with Indiegogo, you just enter your email address. There's a checkbox here saying you agree to the terms, and hit the sign up button. When you receive, you'll get an email in your inbox. Be sure and follow up, because there's a link in there that you click on to confirm your subscription, so that you make sure you get your updates on the campaign. Don't miss out on that, and don't forget that second step.
That's a good point.
And Enter the world of Shadowpunk, a 48-page adventure. Follow Mira as she changes from a lost kid into a living weapon. To find her family, she'll have to face her biggest fears and go up against a ruthless enemy, the guild that has an iron grip on the city of Detroit. This is the debut exclusive #1 issue. Sign up today. Back it. To fight evil, you must step into the shadows. And then, as we showed earlier, I'd like to show it again later too.
Oh, I got you.
With the graphic novel, you'll also be able to watch the free 9-minute animated movie, the prologue and introductory story of Shadowpunk. Get to know Mira before her world goes to hell. And you're showing some of the art that you were sharing with us.
Oh, yeah.
Join the fight or get the hell out of the way. Meet the mysterious figure that will change the trajectory of Mira's life. Got a couple other cool images. Preview some of the images from the animated film. And the 2 worlds of Shadowpunk. Don't forget, when you sign up and back the first day, you get an exclusive Shadowpunk trading card. And there's this line down here. Write a short paragraph on what you would be offering to your audience on social net.
There you go.
There are a lot of creators who forget to, use those fields, or at least blank it out if they're not going to use it. But yeah, very cool, very cool.
So I've been wondering. I don't know what your opinion is. What my trading card? I'm probably going to do a bunch of trading cards, but what one I would give away for free? Because for the first day backers.
This is just, well, I mean, it can be just about anything really, but I'm thinking what might be cool is a trading card of the main cover.
Oh, really?
And then on the back side, of course, Shadowpunk #1 or whatever. And maybe the tagline, "One hero against the city of evil, join the fight."
That's cool.
And along with your company logo and possibly your social medias.
Oh, right.
Or you might include what some people do, which is a QR code that takes you to your website.
Oh, that's like the scannable square.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Or you can do, since one of your goals is to do, well, if I understand correctly, you want to down the road go into tabletop RPGs.
No.
Oh, you don't want to go that route.
No, I'm making I'm making the figurine that's 4 inches tall to sell just for people to have.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I didn't actually tell you that. I'm sorry.
All right, gotcha. All right. So,
because I thought about the poster. I have, the one poster that has that looks like a movie poster.
Yeah, any of those would work too. Yeah. Your poster images, those will work great too.
Yeah.
My only suggestion is have something on both sides.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't leave it blank on one side.
No, I love your idea about putting my social media thing on there too.
Yeah, I mean, because it could double as a business card. Some people also kind of do that on bookmarks. If you decide to offer any bookmarks on your campaign, you could turn that into a business card where, like if you decide to go to conventions to sell your book, you offer a bookmark, and then it's got like some cool image on the front, and then on the back side, your company and social media and whatnot. So that's another way.
can you show my screen?
Yeah.
Because I want to ask your opinion. So maybe people in the chat have an opinion about it too. So this image here, the poster I made,
Mm-hmm.
it just occurred to me that if you just take the center sliver and make that into a bookmark, right? Because you can see all the characters basically, or most of them. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe I'll do something like that.
That would work.
Yeah. But okay.
And then another thing you could do, whether or not, I mean, regardless of whether you ever go down the tabletop game route like D&D or what have you, you can do a melding of what the comics do and what the Transformers do on their toy line.
Okay.
Where you've got a character you're featuring, like maybe you got the protagonist, and then on the backside you show her stats.
Yeah.
Strength, intelligence, dexterity, speed, that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Some people identify it with a number. Others identify it with like an energy bar. So, I mean, you could do it however you like.
I like that. You know what also reminds me of what I've always loved too is the Marvel Universe comic books.
Uh-huh.
Well, those are kind of neat where they tell the story and then tell you the powers and all that stuff. That's kind of neat too. You know, I mean,
those are fun. I love those.
I've always loved it. But I love that idea. It's a cool idea.
Yeah. And then one other final idea. I mean, you could pick any of them. You can pick any of them really, but I think the movie poster, the main movie poster, oh man, those are cool.
Well, so this idea, it's going to be on my launch page. Is I'm going to have it's like a light box. So this is like a plastic light box with light coming through.
Oh, all right.
And these are like the cells, I guess, or whatever. But I just wanted a different way to show my stuff.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about the poster, I was like, you know, this shows all of them. So
yeah. Wow.
This is my kooky idea of just having something different, I guess.
So this would be like one of the big images that you have in the launch page.
Yeah, yeah.
Story side.
Because I notice a lot of different people do it different, you know.
Uh-huh.
They have different ways of like structuring how things are laid out.
Sure, yeah.
And you know, I've never done it, so I thought instead of I'm also going to show pages I have got done below this, but I also wanted to show a unique way of just showcasing my stuff, I guess.
Right.
You know,
if I'm remembering what John Manlin was saying, it's a good idea to have like some copy, like explaining some of the basics, like how many pages, what kind of cover you're looking at, whether it's going to be black and white interiors versus color, and then you have like kind of like a main image that kind of captures the eye, because on campaigns the goal is to capture one's attention within like the first 30 seconds or less.
Oh.
And then, you know, just as with anything, and then you've got like body of text, couple interior images. I mean, you definitely want to show some interior images.
Oh yeah.
So people get a feel for what they have to look forward to. Some maybe a little more copy with what your stretch goals are, things like that. And then on the right-hand side, of course, you have all your tiers. And you don't really want your tiers to end too much further past the body and the story section.
Oh, okay.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
So let me see what Takamai is saying. Make the bookmark with of the person with their outstretched hands, and then wrap the image of Shadowpunk's hands to the back of the bookmark. Ooh.
Wow.
Let's see here. Make the bookmark with the of the person with their outstretched hands.
He's talking about this image right here.
Is that the one?
I think so.
Then wrap the image of the Shadowpunk's hands to the back of the bookmark. Remove the lettering in the bottom. Well, yeah. For any bookmarks, you'll want to remove the lettering in the bottom and manipulate the wording.
So he's saying that on the front of the bookmark is a center image with her, and then on the back of the bookmark, it'll look like her hands, the other sides of the image are wrapped around. That's what he's saying. That's
my
cool.
understanding.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
Take the image on the center left and make that a limited edition poster.
Oh, that one right there? Yeah.
Center left. Wait a minute. Zoom out. Is that?
He's talking about the guy with the swords.
Is that? I thought he was referring to. I thought center left was
this one? Oh, yeah.
Let me see. That's the left side, and it's in the center, right?
Yep. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's center left.
That's a good idea.
Limited edition poster. Make the image on the center right a T-shirt on red fabric.
Oh. Well, I actually have a T-shirt. I made one. I don't know how many people are going to want the T-shirt, but I made one.
Can you zoom in more so we can see the logo? All right. Okay.
It came out good. I actually I got it made, and let's see if I can show you. There we go.
Oh, all right. That's a nice size. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was worried it was too small.
I wasn't sure how big to make it, but I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And it's my logo, which is kind of neat for him, after working on it for so long to finally get the thing on my T-shirt. That was kind of a big thing for me,
Yeah. I personally, speaking only for me, I think at a minimum, I prefer images or logos be from near the top to at least my solar plexus.
Okay.
And then I'm told that women like the image higher because their chest.
Oh.
So that when it comes out, you can see the whole image instead of it looking like it's cut in half.
You know what?
Or
You make an excellent point that I didn't think of. If there are any women that want to buy a shirt, I will design a female version. For sure. I didn't even think of that.
It's what is it, 50-50 hindsight?
Well, it's very helpful. I didn't, it's a good idea what you're bringing up because what do I know?
Well, it helps to brainstorm.
Totally.
So, and just talk to people who talk to people, and that's where I'm learning all these tips too. And
yeah.
Talking my nose is stuff. Continuing, make the image on the center right of T-shirt on red fabric. And when it comes to T-shirts, by the way, I'm speaking only for myself, but I know there are people out there who agree.
Yeah.
I like images that are like either printed on the fabric itself or have a very light, very like the one I'm wearing now. Has kind of almost a rubbery feel, but a light rubbery feel, not heavy plasticky.
I see it. Yeah. Okay.
I hate the heavy plasticky things that are so solid that it scratches your chest.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you had those before?
Yeah. So the one I got isn't like that.
Cool.
And it's I definitely wanted something that I wanted a T-shirt that I would like to wear, but sure. I also had to compromise and say I can't get the T-shirt that cost me $50 a print, right? I mean, that's like kooky crazy level. I can't do that. So I found the one. It's really nice. It's thick. It's not thick. It's like medium.
Okay.
And I was very impressed with it. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there are a number of print-on-demand places that you can get pretty good, decent product from.
Okay.
So that's what a lot of people are using.
Yeah, I think the one I found, I think it might have been Vistaprint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
they had a really good price, and quality was really good. So I
I
thought,
use them for business cards.
yeah, right. I think that's their thing, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I have to actually I had to make it and then get it in my hands before I said yes. This will be the one I want.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes testing from several different vendors before you find what works for you and your product, your property, what
Yeah.
you want to represent. Because if you've got something on, like, say a t-shirt, and it's uncomfortable as hell, people aren't going to wear it. And the whole reason to have a t-shirt is advertising, free advertising.
Yeah, totally. It's a good point. You can't, there's no question about what you just said.
I'm sorry. Do you mind sharing that image of the 9
Yes.
again? Because I'm not finished going through all of Takamae's suggestions.
Yep. I wanted to see you for a second. That's all.
All
Let
right.
me see
So
where it is. It's somewhere back here.
all right. So image on the center right as a t-shirt on red fabric. Yeah, that would be a good one. When it comes to t-shirts, I like either a central character or a team of characters in like action, dynamic action poses. Let's see here. Make the center image a mouse pad.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I never even think that people would do that.
Yeah, mouse pads are something I'd like to do too.
Oh man.
Person on the bottom, and then I'm not sure. Wait, or was he talking about putting the person on the bottom as a well? All right. The shadowy figure as a mouse pad, is that? Am I interpreting that?
Talking
right?
about like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good t-shirt design. Yeah, I like that t-shirt, but speaking only for myself, of course. If there were an alternative, I'd probably go for the alternative.
Like something more of an image instead of a logo.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, I can see that too. Which, by the way, his suggestion about the red one on the right, that's actually a pretty good suggestion. I can sort of see that, that's not bad.
Yeah. For sure. For women's clothing, put the logo across the top and the image on the back of the shirt. That's a good way to do it too. That's a good solution, really. Logo on the yeah. That's a good way to do it. Good solution.
I mean, I like that. It's there's so many options,
Yeah.
And he like, man, you could do so many things. And one of the benefits of the way I stumbled through this process is I did create a ton of images for my promo.
Oh yeah.
So I have a lot to choose from, but it's just there's so many options. Quite honestly, I don't know how many people are going to buy my miniature, but I want to make it because I love making it. And I don't know how many people are going to buy the t-shirts, but I really wanted the t-shirt. So I said, this is my thing. I'm going to do one no matter what, And so who knows,
Yeah, I mean, I think the t-shirts will do decent, but I think the miniature is going to go really fast. That's just my guess.
You mean like nobody will want it, you mean?
I think more people will want the miniatures.
Really?
But then, I don't know. You've got an audience who are into miniatures. You got an audience who are into t-shirts. I'm into both. So I'd probably get both if I can afford it.
Well, the reason I say that is I'm surprised that I didn't know. I thought only like 2 or 3 people might want the miniature, and I'm
Well,
lucky,
try and visit the campaigns that have miniatures. You've got, well, and not necessarily just miniatures, but extra products that, I mean, you got Cyberfrog, right? His miniature, even though people backed his big tiers, from what I understand, not a lot of people are painting them.
Okay.
And showing it off on the internet. I'm eventually going to paint his, but paint the figure I have of his. But I first have to learn how to paint him.
So,
and
just,
then, go ahead.
Just to let you know, so because I do paint miniatures, my plan is to paint all of my miniatures and then send them to people.
All right, that'll work too.
Which, by the way, is that's a kamikaze way of doing it because it's going to be crazy painting them.
Yeah.
But I love it and I enjoy it, and I'm like, man, if people really like the character enough to buy the miniature, I'm going to paint it for you.
It just realize it's going to add production time.
Oh yeah.
And it could potentially extend the length of your campaign. I don't know if you have in mind a particular end time. But I mean, that's part of the beauty of using Indiegogo. You can use once you're fully funded, you've got an in-demand period.
Okay.
Now you can treat your campaign page as an online store. So even after you fulfilled, other backers might come into the loop upon discovering your product and decide to back while you're busy painting these miniatures.
Well, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Because you probably have enough experience to know this. So I'm thinking that the t-shirt and then the miniature will be separate items. I won't do like a bulk thing.
I would agree with that.
Okay, because I don't know, nobody knows. Maybe I don't know how many people want those things, and I'm like, this will make it.
But while you're still jumping on channels, promoting, using Twitter, sharing on Twitter, you could always do a poll. You could do like a Twitter poll.
That's a good idea.
Hey, I've got this campaign out. Check it out. I'm interested in offering a T-shirt or a painted figurine. What would interest you more, or what do you dig? And you might even have an extra option for other. Please specify.
Oh, I see.
And then, because people, they might like anything from stickers to buttons to sketch cards to metal prints to metal bookmarks to metal trading cards, or there's all kinds of merch possibilities.
That's yeah. The thing, I'm not sure how many people, when you put a poll, let's just pretend your audience is 100,000 people, right? How many people of those 100,000 will participate in the poll? Will it be like 5% of your audience, right? I don't know the
math behind that, but it's just one option. The other thing is you can also ask what the chat in each of the streams you're on thinks.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea too.
Let me catch up with Takame. I've worked in board game design for the last 15 years. So tons of experience there.
Oh, can I show him something while you're doing that? Because
sure. It's based on the type of screen printing. Latex prints cause that weird plastic effect. Yeah.
So
Ooh,
these are my HeroClick maps I made. And so for gaming and whatever. And the game is flat, right? It isn't meant to look realistic. It's meant to look game playable, right? So I've been making these maps for years, and it's printed on this vinyl that Staples, and it has no shine to it.
Oh, it's like a matte finish, huh?
Yeah, 100% matte finish.
Oh,
Right?
neat.
Right. So this is what they look like when they're flat. They're like, this is my Asgard map.
Oh my gosh, the rainbow.
But
Rainbow Bridge.
and I did like a danger room one. Like there's a danger room one, which is super fun to play on.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
If you played the game, you would go, wow, that's kind of neat. It works well. This is my JFK map.
Oh my gosh.
Dealey Plaza, right? I had to do it, right?
Oh man.
So in the game, some characters, for example, like Iron Man with his stealth armor, right? Or some characters have stealth, right, where you can't see them, right? So in the game, I made separate squares, just like the shooters at Dealey Plaza, where if you're any character, if Wolverine's in here, he has stealth.
Okay.
Right? That's kind of the cool thing where you go, this is a map for spies,
Oh,
and this is my Guardians of the Galaxy map.
Wow.
So you can jump from asteroid to asteroid to get to the ships.
How neat.
It's bizarre because everything's super flat.
Right, yeah.
This is my... Oh, go ahead.
Since they're like a vinyl material, you basically roll them up when you're done, right?
That's correct.
All right, cool.
So this one was the Gotham map. And so you've got the characters can go walk this way and go underneath the building and go through the sewers. And they can go on top of these spires, towers, and they can walk the ropes to get from here. Oh, so when you do it, you can walk over other characters, right? That's part of the game where you can't normally do that unless you have special things.
So when you're crossing the spire from one spire to the next, that counts as one move, one position?
Yeah, for example, I'll give you a simple way of thinking about it. If you're the Flash, you can move, say you might be able to move 14 squares.
All right.
But if you are Aunt May,
all right,
you can move 4.
Okay.
So, and Batman can move maybe 8, depending on you get the idea.
All right.
So like Batman might go 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If he can make it and he can land there. Right.
Oh, all right. So you're still getting, so the travel time across from one spire to another is still having to be counted. It's not like a warp or a.
Well, that's a good point because we played it a couple of different ways, and we played it one where it's half the movement. So if some of the guys like the Flash have a power where you can run, punch a person, then run away.
Okay.
And some guys like the Hulk have a charge where you can run half your move and punch a guy, right? And some guys don't have any of those powers. So when people with hypersonic, when they like the Flash, they can go boom, boom, boom. They can run across the map, hit you, and then run back because it's craziness, right? And some guys like Wolverine have their claws, and they can take you out. If you close to them, they can just wipe your guy out. So all the characters have something to offer. Doctor Strange is like a Swiss Army knife, right?
All right. So is HeroClix kind of in the vein of Warhammer 40,000?
That is an excellent question. I've never played it.
Because I think it's with Warhammer. There are other games, of course, but they seem to use a lot of maps and a lot of little miniatures of the characters, and some go so far as to actually have like relief map styles where you have physical castles, you have mountainsides, you have physical trees planted. Well, they're movable, but they're physical trees and stuff.
I've seen some of that stuff.
Three-dimensional relief surface.
It sounds really cool. I've seen some of it, but I don't know how the game works.
All right.
But yeah, it's definitely
That's neat though.
it's a lot of fun. It's fun for people that like comic books.
Yeah, yeah.
The way it works is that, let's just say you and I play a game. We agree that we're going to do a 300-point game. And so this guy here might be 150 points. Spider-Man might be 40 points. So you will have enough guys on your team to add up to 300.
Hmm.
And you know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
That's kind of basically how the game works. But you could do like 1,000-point game, and you could have all your Avengers on your team if you want, if you have them, or whatever, X-Men or whatever,
Right.
So anyway, the one guy mentioned the gaming, that I figured I'd show it to him.
I got to play some major catch up here. Yeah, so the screen printing is latex. Yeah, I don't like the latex version. My company, Takame LLC, is Printful for a lot of our product merch. I've heard good things about Printful.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I stopped screen share because I want to see you talk to these guys.
Oh, all right, right on. No, the bookmark idea. The image has a person with their back to the camera.
Oh, that one.
Main character.
Yeah.
Use their outstretched hands to determine width. Do you know which image?
Yeah, he's talking about the one with she's standing on the ground and there's a guy above the tower, the villain, and he's I can show you.
Yeah, please, because I've already forgotten.
It's one of my favorite images, by the way, but it's like this one.
All right, hold on. All right. Oh, wait. The center one?
Yep, the center one. I think that's what he's talking about, where she's on the ground, and then he's like puppet master with all the building in front of him. Yeah.
Person with their back to the camera under the main character.
Yep.
Use their outstretched hands. Okay. All right.
Not to derail the conversation, but the building in that image, it bases off of this building here in Detroit.
Oh.
It's called the Guardian Building.
Okay.
It's super cool looking. So I wanted to. I made my own version of the building, but I took loads of photos of it. But anyway.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let me see. Miniatures are a huge market. Yeah. They seem to be getting bigger and bigger than I anticipated. UV print 65 millimeter figurines of the various characters of your book. Offer them as extended purchases of roughly $5 to $10 a piece. Make sets that sell for $25 to $30.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, I could do that if the figurines were small, like they were like an inch tall.
Right.
Right. It'd be hard to do it with the 4-inch one for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
His idea is a cool one also, because I'm assuming, I can't see the chat. I assume it's a him. Is that I could do all the different characters.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, it's of course you. I didn't. You guys are thinking it through better than I thought it through.
Well, I mean, that's why you go on promotional streams, because people will have suggestions. People know what they like and what they don't like, and they're willing to share their opinions.
Well, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
That idea about doing multiple characters and miniatures.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like a better idea for like issue number 2, where the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
that would work too. Yeah, I mean, one of the things you got to be careful about is there's going to be so much stuff you want to do, but on a first campaign, especially when you're trying to get out there, get yourself known, build some kind of audience, you don't want to get too carried away.
Yeah.
And I'm the type who would probably get too carried away. Like you want to, you definitely want to have your main book. You can optionally include, like, in your campaign as a whole, you can optionally include, say, a variant cover of your book. You don't want to go further than like 2 variants in a main cover. But on the first campaign, even a main cover and 1 variant is fine. And then if you do merch, you don't want to go too crazy either. I mean, you might do a t-shirt, you might do something as simple as a bookmark or a sticker. Just don't let yourself get overwhelmed with so much stuff, because each of those components is going to take a chunk of your time as well.
Well, doing the figurine that I'm 100% committed to doing, the 4-inch figure, that's going to take. I'm already been dealing with my new 3D printer a lot, so yeah, you're totally right. I can't. I mean, stretching yourself thin on your first campaign is a crazy idea.
Yeah. Besides Ethan, Tailless from Outer Space, Aria Blackness, he managed to release a limited number of these little figures. They resemble, I don't know if you remember Musclemen.
Yeah, I think so.
PLE. So they're these pink figurines. They look like wrestlers.
That's cool. I remember those.
He made a version of that, of his character Tailless, who's this like buff, kind of like a cat or rabbit kind of character, superhero.
Okay.
And he also released a very limited edition version of the figure, but with the pumpkin spice scent.
Oh my gosh.
Joe Catapano of Star Circuit released a little figure of a spacecraft. Like his motorcycle, which is similar. Think of the light cycles in Tron.
Yeah.
But he's got his own version, which is a really trippy looking bike.
Well, that's a cool idea.
He did a 3D figure or figurine of that. I think he released that while he was in demand, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And he had a certain number available. Even when you release figurines, you don't have to leave it as an open quantity. You can just do limited edition, only 20 available.
I might do that. You know why? When I've been printing these figures, each one probably takes, just the figure takes 14 hours of print. So it's gonna be a while, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make a bunch and not have anybody buy them either. So
yeah,
I won't actually. I'll only start printing them when people buy them. So
there's a campaign. I don't know if you heard of Hammer by Jason Krager.
No.
He made these characters called Dragers, which are these characters in his world, and they're made with armatures with clay built on them, and then he also does what they call, I think it's called bash kit, where you take bits and pieces of like model kits, spare parts, and then add it to your sculpture.
That's cool.
So they're sort of humanoid, android-like in nature. And he had like 6 or 9 of them that he released.
Oh, wow.
And because they were so special and unique,
I love that.
He did a cap on it. I could show you offline or something, some of these things that people are.
Yeah, for sure. But your idea about a limited edition is really cool. Yeah. I actually really like that because,
it helps you control it,
and it also makes it a really unique thing.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I'm not going to be able to. Let's hypothetically, even if I had to, I couldn't print 500, right? I'd be blown out of the water. I couldn't actually get that done.
I mean,
So,
it's challenging with something like figures, miniatures, figurines, whatever, statues of any kind. It's very time consuming. Like you've got Simon Simpoitier, who offers sketch cards, and he's quick on turnaround on drawing sketch cards. He's fast. So
cool.
His campaign, I think I think it was through his early sign up list. You by being on his early sign up list, you get a sketch card.
Oh, that's cool.
So he ended up doing like 200 sketch cards.
Wow.
And then he said if he exceeds that amount on this campaign, then he'll be more than happy to do 300 or more.
I bet, yeah.
Sketch cards. So you got to factor in how much time this stuff is going to take. And then Rini draws, or Irene Strakowski,
Okay.
of Fiendish. She did these wood burn plaques. So she used wood burning tools to draw her demon characters.
Wow.
So she had, I think she did like an open count depending on how many people bought it.
Uh-huh.
And I think she ended up with a total of like 45 she had to make.
Jeez.
So
that's cool though.
Yeah, people are creative, man. People are so creative.
I just love the idea that people have their own unique approaches.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Takamei says UV printing has 1/100th of the fail rate of 3D printing. And can print entire plates of multiple models at the same time.
I can do that with mine.
Can you?
Yeah. So mine is a UV resin printer.
UV resin. Oh man.
So well, it depends on the size of the print, right? So if I'm printing something, if you print something that's 1 inch tall and maybe half an inch wide, right. Yes, you can duplicate and stack them up and print them all. My figure is big enough where I can only print one at a time, but that's one of the beauties of the thing he's describing, the UV printing you can do. And it, by the way, it basically takes the same amount of time.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. If you have one figurine in the middle and you print it, that'll take almost the same amount of time as printing the whole thing filled up with figures.
Oh, yeah. That kind of reminds me of my early in my career. I actually studied, I went to college for electronics because I thought I was going to be an electronics technician.
Okay.
And, they talk about DC and AC circuit theory. And when you think of parallel circuits, you think of you relate it to plumbing. So if you've got one pipe, right, through which electrons flow to give you electricity, that's what you call a serial circuit. Everything is going in one loop. If it breaks at any point, you've cut the source of electricity. Right?
Okay. Yep.
So if you in a parallel circuit, you've got more than one path, and then imagine all these vertical bars connecting the two sides.
I see.
You break one of those pipes in the middle, and then you still got flow going to the rest of them.
Right.
So I'm thinking because you've got, say, a dozen figures you're making all at once, you're all making them from bottom to top, I presume.
Yes. Yeah.
Then they're all going to build at the same rate, the same speed.
That is, I think the idea, that is the idea where you're exposing the plate step by step. The whole thing is a UV exposure. So boom, one layer is exposed, whether it's one small part of the plate or the whole plate, it's still exposed. So yeah, that's the idea, I think.
And HeroClix uses a dial system. Yeah, I went to a hobby shop. There's this cool hobby shop that I've been to, and I took a moment to look at some of the HeroClix stuff because I know so little about these role-playing tabletop games. And it's got that dial system that is described in here. Dial system on the bottom of the figure that tracks their movement, stats, and health. You rotate the bottom and change the stats as the character gets wounded. That's a good way to keep track of things, so you don't have to write everything down furiously.
Yeah, the way it works, though, let's just say the Hulk hits your guy and he does 6 damage. You click your guy 6 times, and as you click it, each time you get weaker and weaker.
Okay.
So at the end, if you hit KO, you're done. Right.
Okay.
That's kind of that's the simplicity of the game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
upper right. Man, I'm so far behind. I'm so sorry. Let's see. UV printing uses the same STL file format as 3D printing.
Yep.
But with way better quality. Your 4-inch figure, you can actually get injection mold quality from UV, and a base UV setup will run about $330. Seriously, $330? That's reasonable.
What's $330 mean?
$330. I'm sorry.
Oh, mine was less.
I mean, I was about to ask, what are we talking in terms of pricing between your traditional 3D printer and the UV? Wow.
Well, those guys know better about that, but mine cost about $230.
$230? Okay.
And so, but you also have to buy the material.
Right.
So like let's say a 25-ounce bottle costs you $30 of material.
Okay.
And you might go, it doesn't go super fast, but it's not cheap.
Right. So would it be fair to say that it's the material? Does it kind of follow the whole razor and razor blade payment system? Well, not payment system, but
approach.
Yeah.
No, it's not that bad.
Okay, all right.
The other example is the printers that you print paper and ink.
Like inkjet?
Yeah, it's like those are total like scans where you like it costs you $40.
They are.
But the cartridges cost you $60 or whatever.
Yeah. Holy cow.
So it's not that bad, but it isn't cheap either. So
yeah. In UV printing, a 2-inch or 60 millimeter figure runs roughly about $1.29 per unit to print from a 32-ounce, which is $19.99 bottle of UV resin. 2-inch figure, $129 per unit to print 32-ounce bottle. You can get roughly about 36 2-inch tall figurines from one bottle. Oh, interesting. This is so bloody informative. My gosh. Breaking it down. Hell yeah. Wow.
If you were a businessman, you would say, dude, don't design that character with those wings on it. Make him stand straight up so we can get more out of the bottle, right?
Hey, dude, make your character into a cylinder.
Totally. Cylinder man.
And just draw the face by hand with a permanent marker.
Exactly. That's how creative people are.
UV printing prints an entire tray, roughly 18 2-inch tall models in about 4 hours. Wow, that doesn't sound like that bad. Here's the other thing I've always wondered. These 3D printers, how bad are they on energy consumption? For example, do you see a noticeable hit to your electric bill?
I just got it, so I can't tell. But that's a good point. It's hard to tell. My guess is it's kind of like a fan.
Because at least in Ohio, electricity and water are the most expensive.
Yes.
And gas to a lesser extent. So I'm constantly, oh man, it's weird. even though I'm trying to penny pinch here and there when it comes to electricity, my electricity bill, like I still use 2 computers. I have a ring light. I have peripherals, and it's like I'm still using electricity. Let's see here. Plus, unlike 3D printing, so UV printing is not the same as 3D printing, or 3D printing is the term used for just regular resin. And
I think 3D printing is UV is 3D printing, but he's drawn a distinction. So
right,
yeah,
make it easier to understand.
yeah, I think so.
Plus, unlike 3D printing, if a piece fails in the UV print, it doesn't affect the entire print.
Right.
Ooh, that's good to know. Meaning that if one figure fails, you don't lose the tray, unlike in 3D print. Wow, that's an interesting difference. 3D printing uses a nozzle that squeezes material, almost like a glue gun, if you will, to print the shape, whereas UV printing uses a laser to excite the resin material, which sticks to the plate.
Yeah. So the way the resin works is that every layer is every like millimeter layer is exposed to the UV light,
Okay.
and that dries the resin in the spot. And so, for example, if you had a figure that gets the feet and then the ankles and then all the way up, so it'll expose only those small spots and harden only those small spots. So that's how it works. One little teeny step at a time.
But it doesn't like you get. So you got a layer here, right? The very bottom, the sole of the shoe or whatever.
Right.
And then you add a layer of material, and then you expose it to UV light, so it fuses these 2 pieces.
Yeah.
And then you add another layer on top of that, and it fuses these 2. Oh, okay, all right.
Yep. That's basically how it works.
It's not like there's a liquid. Oh, hold on.
Well, your analogy is close. Basically, that it doesn't add the material though, because they're all of it's sunken in the vat of resin.
Okay.
So boom, boom, boom. It's solidifying layer after layer.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, again, if you saw it, you go bing.
Okay.
Like instantly, you get it.
All right. They're comparable to a desktop computer in electric cost.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, that's good then. That's cool because you're only going to use it when you're actively making something.
Yeah.
And granted, the thing you're making will take hours, but still. The only thing with UV is that after you're done printing, you have to cure the models by first washing them and rubbing alcohol, and then drying them in the UV light turntable to harden the model.
Yep.
So that means you physically got a separate container device thing for the finish.
For me, I actually have those square UV lights that you would hang for plants. So I already have them. So I actually just built like a thing where I can put it in there and to let it sit there and turn it around. But and in the summer you can just put it out in the sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to washing them and rubbing alcohol, man, this is like way more detail than I probably even need at this point. But I'm all curious. When it comes to washing them and rubbing alcohol, can you simply like have a little vat, a tray of rubbing alcohol a few inches deep, and then just put the whole tray and dunk it a few times and then be done with it? Or do you have to like intentionally like use a spray bottle or something to get in all bits and crannies?
Yeah, the way you do it is you do have a container full of alcohol, and then you'll dunk your figurine in there, and then let it. And then I have a soft toothbrush that you will just because you got to get between the corners and everything.
Oh.
But then I also, to clean all the equipment, I have a spray bottle of alcohol, like you said, and that helps you Otherwise, you're pouring gallons of alcohol down the drain, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
it's kooky crazy. It's like you got to literally be careful with, and the resin is kind of burnt. It'll burn your skin, so you have to be careful with how you handle. It's like maple syrup. But if you let it get on stuff, it'll get on everything.
Oh.
So you got to literally be careful. You're like, this is insane.
Does that mean as soon as the finished product is made, you have to let it sit in the UV printer for some time to cool off
No,
before you take it out immediately?
well, no, you don't have to. You can let it sit there for a long time, actually, all day. I mean, there is no once it's printed, there is no rush.
But it's not like it's going to melt right before your eyes.
No, it's hard. It's
Okay.
hard. Yeah.
Huh.
The other thing too that he didn't mention, because it's also complicated, is that when you print with the resin printers, like for example, my character with the wings,
Uh-huh.
you have to have it won't print things that are not stable. So just like a
Right.
building that has the stuff around it when you're fixing the building,
Uh-huh.
the scaffolds and all that, you have to build your own scaffolds in their program so that everything's supported. So
Yeah.
when you're done, you have to crack all those off.
Yeah, you have all these like little extra connecting pieces.
That's it. Yeah. And by the way, you could spend 15 hours printing something and you could crack it. Right? If you're breaking stuff off and you clip off the guy's hand, then you got to glue it or something or whatever, right?
Right.
So it's it's not horrible. It's
Right.
solvable, right? But
Wow, neat stuff. Elegoo has a machine you can pick up for about $75 that has a bucket to dunk them in, which removes flash and slightly smooths the product. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then you
yeah.
put that onto a machine to dry.
Yep.
Interesting. I use wire snips to cut off the supports, but it's super easy to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that wire snips is probably a good solution, because I mean that's what you have to use when you're building model kits.
Okay.
Because they you build like, what if I want to make a jet fighter? What is a model? But lots of different pieces, like half of a fuselage and portion of an engine.
Oh, yep.
And they're all attached to these main bars that sort of resemble a circuit. And,
Oh, yeah.
they're just suspended by these little supports. So you just take your little snips.
I remember that stuff now.
Yeah. My gosh, what a trip. What a learning experience.
I know. You didn't think you'd be talking about that tonight, did you?
Not at all. Not at all. Let me see. Was there by chance any other like concept art or any other pieces you were planning to share?
Wow. I mean, I showed you quite a bit.
Lot, I know.
And I even showed you my. Probably not, because I think I showed most of everything.
All right, right on.
Yeah, I mean, I showed a lot.
So just some random questions here. Let me see. When did you come up with the concept for Shadowpunk?
Man, the whole thing started with a different idea. And it slowly, as I learned to tell stories, I changed it. And it slowly turned into Shadowpunk. And I don't know where that began and where it ended, but it was like, that's part of the process. I had this completely different idea in the beginning, which I still might do one day. But because what I found out was, when I saw how people created movies and told stories, I slowly started to whittle down what I didn't need and start to sharpen and come up with my idea, right? So I didn't, when I was doing the animated movie, I didn't know everything about the girl with the armor.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to slowly work that out as I did it, right? So over time, it kind of just slowly built. I added this, I took away that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it answers the question, but that's as close as I can describe it.
You mentioned that you're very much an artist who focuses on the art. Excuse me. Where did your sense of storytelling come from? Did you take any classes for storytelling?
No,
Or are you a voracious reader?
well, like a lot of people, I've watched a ton of movies, so that helps, right? I think that all of us have an inherent way of doing things our own way. For example, some people are great at comedy, right? Some people are great at using their poetry, like they're like they're great with words, you know. Some people, everyone has like a unique aspect that they're really good at,
Mhm.
and I don't. I've never learned how to write anything ever, and I had to literally figure out how they did that. And so I'm sure you've done it too, where you watch a movie and you go, okay, what's really going on here? And the guy I was blown away by was Stanley Kubrick.
Okay, all right.
I figured out what his movies mean, and not all on my own, but some of it I figured out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing like the movies that they do, normal movies. And that when I figured it out, I was like, "You son of a bitch! This guy is so smart. He put this stuff in movie. He was about 40 years ahead of where we are today." And I won't go into it, but if I told you what like 2001's really about, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. So, yeah.
Let's see here. Models are made through injection mold systems. The bars are the flow path of the hot plastic. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That
Okay.
does make sense.
All right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And remember when you were talking about lip syncing?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
characters?
Yeah.
Did you put any thought to doing the difference between literal lip syncing versus just do up and down jaws?
Well, yeah. I mean, I knew I couldn't do that because it wouldn't fly, right? But once you get into the lip syncing, there's another thing that happens where let's say you have the audio in your software, and on frame 100 the lips go tight, right? Because he's gonna use M. So the beginning of the M, he's tight, and then his mouth opens up. So you do it down to the frame, and then when you play it back, it doesn't look right, and so everything has to be shifted a couple frames. Everything. So and you're like, this is a phenomenon that happens with people when they talk, and it's an animator's trick, I guess. So yeah, but I couldn't get away with doing it that simple. So
yeah. Do you sometimes like label everything as every mouth image as like a part of the alphabet? So A looks like this, B actually, hold on, A. So that would actually be possibly up to between 1 and 3 frames to form the letter A. I'm not sure if that's really how it works.
maybe actually that's probably pretty close. The way I did it was so the way they do it is they sculpt the character's face in the shape of an A, right, and the sound, and then when they want that, they'll just crank it up, and the A will form in the mouth. The way I did it was I actually built the bones around the lips and the jaw. So when I wanted an A, I would open the mouth a little bit and squeeze the jaw and raise the lips. Right? So there's multiple approaches to doing that stuff.
Okay. Right on. And the book is set in Detroit, Michigan. you make all the scenery as accurate as possible? Like, do you literally have whole environments covering spans of the city?
No,
Or did you like pull out specific features that anyone would recognize, having been a Michiganian or
Michigander.
Michigander?
Oh, you locked up. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. So what I did was when you're doing the 3D animation stuff, everything takes time. So you only make just the bare minimum that you have to make. And by the way, I made so much that I threw out that I didn't use, right? You're going to do that too. So I made landmarks and things.
Uh-huh.
So while she's traveling, you'll see like maybe a sign that says a street name or stuff like that. But she's traveling past my house and she's headed towards Detroit, by the way. You wouldn't know that, but that's kind of what it is. So
Oh no, your own animated movie is doxing yourself.
I know. Well, it is what it is, you know.
So do you kind of view storytelling and stuff like some do, where the classic examples, Batman and Gotham, do you treat the environment as a character unto itself?
That's an excellent question. You kind of have to when you. Well, it depends. No, it doesn't depend. Even in the comic book, you kind of have to do that because it adds so much to the story, doesn't it? So if the city that she's living in is interesting to look at, it's going to be another character. It has to be. I think so. And in the animation, it definitely has that feel where it's what the viewer's going to want to know what is going on. Why does the world look the way that it looks? So
Indeed. Last question is more or less kind of lighthearted, simple question.
Okay.
You mentioned having an early start into things like Dungeons and Dragons and how you guys were really into it. Have you since had a chance to reconnect with your friends from school and get back to playing D&D on the regular?
We don't. Most of the people moved out of state.
Oh, okay.
But so what happened was I needed actors to do this animation. I needed people to do the voices. So my best friend who I grew up with playing D&D and all that, him and his wife and his daughter did the voices.
Oh, neat.
So the bonus was they all kind of feel like they're part of the same family, right? That was kind of a bonus.
Yeah.
And he's a big fan. He knows the whole thing I've done. So, he's a big fan of it. And, but yeah, we don't really play anymore because you know how it is. People get older. If I wanted to play right now, I couldn't even do it because I'm so busy. Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Some people have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so, but those are great times growing up. And I don't know if you were into that stuff.
I got into it a little, but at the time, I don't feel like I had that big an imagination.
Okay.
So it's like I try and play with my cousins, and one of my cousins would DM, and they're describing the scene, and they're like, "Okay, here's what you're faced with. What do you do?" And I'm like constantly blanking out, trying to figure out what. So it's like I couldn't work myself. I can work myself out of a cardboard box if I wanted to.
That was my experience as well. I mean, I wasn't like that, but I also had my own. I was a DM sometimes, and I would try to explain things. And what I understood was each individual person has a different capacity for visualizing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so some of them are very visually creative, but some of them are more, they're more cerebral people, or some of the one guy was a super simple guy. You know, he literally, if he didn't get it, he would just go, okay, whatever. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, he doesn't, it wasn't a big, but some people were super smart. But when you said the door is made of stone and there's a face carved into the door, they would go, wait a second, what? You know, everybody's different.
Yeah.
So,
I think as a kid, I was like totally oblivious. But as I did more drawing and started watching, you know, saw all kinds of movies and got more creative, I think I started to develop a better sense of visualization.
okay.
Time.
I think a lot of people are like that, you know, and but we all have certain aptitudes, which is a cool thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring back Shadowpunk. And if you haven't already, please get on the sign up list. Excuse me. Roughly when were you wanting to go live? Do you know yet?
Maybe in a month.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, I don't. It's open ended, but I don't want to make it last too long either.
Right.
Right. Because I'll just be spinning my wheels at some point.
Do you have lots of? Are you already booked on a lot of channels to promote?
Yeah. I mean, I've been on more than a few already. And it's so awesome that you contacted me to call me on, because I don't know who has a channel, who doesn't have one, you know, and I'm new to the scene, so people know you, but I don't know anybody, right? So it helps when people contact me and say, hey, because you know, some people might not. I don't know if people want me on their show, right? You don't know how people are, so
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of your project, it was like an easy decision. It's like I gotta promote this.
well, I appreciate it so much, man. It's so great to get out there and to get in front of people. I can only do so much as one person, right?
Yeah, I mean, your approach, your willingness to share your project, your outgoingness, if that's even a word, your openness is going to take you far, because there are some creators. I don't know if it's so much a factor of ego or not, but they misunderstand how it all works. They I mean, they could be talented as hell, but they'll put up a campaign, and then they just expect everyone to find it and come
Right.
gather and back it and everything. It doesn't work that way unless you're really well known, I suppose.
Right. If you're David Finch, you can probably get away with that.
Yeah.
Right. Or you're Frank Frazetta or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Todd McFarlane, Brian Polito. But if you are not a well-known name and you're entering the indie market, then odds are you're going to have to do a lot of promotion.
Yeah.
That's part of your job now.
Right.
Building an audience, getting people interested in your project, being energetic and passionate about your project. Yeah, it's now a part of your job, like it or not.
That is what it is, man. And I when I talked to Michael Bancroft, he kind of said that also. And I was like, you know what? You're right. It's just it's an adjustment, because you know, because I'm an artist. I'm not a salesperson, right?
Mm-hmm.
But by the way, it's also really cool to connect with other people in the community, and even through the chat here, to connect with people who might be fans, and that's really very fun to do.
Sure.
You know, because artists tend to live in bubbles, you know, like I said before, and it's great to get out there. I mean, I know they've talked about having a Comicsgate convention.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, that would be so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Just to meet people.
Yeah, it's still in the works, but as far as I know, it's still a go. It's just working out the right time. Excuse me. And as you know, EVS is extremely busy with all his projects.
Oh, right.
And he's kind of the lead guy working with the convention creator people for this convention.
I heard something about it maybe being in Orlando.
Orlando, Florida. Probably in a hotel, like in one of their big, what do you call them, rooms where they
Oh,
have
yes.
whole big banquets and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that creators can, so as a whole, I guess we could block out a whole couple of floors or more.
That would be so much fun.
And then they're talking, the early talk, things have probably changed slightly over time, but the early talk was I think we're still pretty much still agreeing that it's going to be a wholly crowdfunded convention, if you can believe it.
What does that mean?
Meaning we're going to have an Indiegogo or something like that, something similar, where you're backing, but you're covering the cost of tickets and the ability to attend specific events.
Wow.
Like for example, you might get a chance to go out to a bar and drink with Cecil. You might have a chance to hang out with the Jack Show.
I got you.
You might since it's in Florida, I think there was talk about maybe one of the tiers being hang out all together or as a group of people at either Disney World or the other place, their competitor,
Universal, yeah.
And
cool.
then there will be like staged events where you might have Jack Show live on the show floor.
Okay.
You'll have Comic Artist Pro Secrets live on the show floor. Maybe you'll have some special interviews going on. And then ideally, any comic skater who has released at least one title gets their table rental covered by the campaign.
Okay. Wow, that sounds so awesome, man.
Yeah, and then as you may be familiar with, I don't know how much you follow John Malin, but he on his campaigns releases a Graveyard Shift logo T-shirt, and there's a specific one that's gold in color.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
He rotates colors, but if he sees you at any convention you go to, if he sees you wearing that T-shirt, he'll buy you a drink.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's one of his things.
That's so inventive,
And then like PTP, Patrick Thomas Parnell,
yes,
who does Johnny Phantasm. He, I think, is planning on doing a thing where he'll have a con exclusive. Like if you backed one of his campaigns that has this unique special poker chip and you bring it into the convention, you can redeem that poker chip for an exclusive Johnny Phantasm action figure.
that's awesome. Those are such cool ideas, right?
Yeah.
To get fans engaged.
And then you're going to have, they're going to try and have entertainment. I don't know if they can get someone like Gunter.
I don't know who that is.
The Fabio.
Oh, okay.
EVS might get. I forgot who else, but a couple, low end celebs who might actually be down for something like this.
You know what's also cool about that is about all those cool ideas is that in 20 years, those things might actually be worth money because they're rare.
Sure.
They're not like
Yeah.
today, like if you buy an X-Men comic book, there's a zillion of them they printed, right? But this stuff is like, limited. Everything's kind of limited edition because we're not the big companies.
That's why you want to get in on the ground level if you possibly can.
Yeah, it's cool idea, man.
Yeah, because like you see books from Malin and EVS who where the aftermarket, they're fetching high prices already.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I bought Ethan's book, and I think it was like $40.
Yeah, but then when you look at, let's say you do a search on eBay or Amazon, you'll see it for sale at marked up prices.
Oh, okay. I see.
That's where I'm going with that. Let me see. So, wanted to revisit this page once more. So, get on the sign up list. Just as a reminder, all you need to do is enter your email address, mark the first box. Just a warning to everyone who's not familiar with Indiegogo. If you mark the second one to sign up for the Indiegogo newsletter, you kind of get spammed with that like daily, I think.
Yeah.
And they basically tell you about like every little campaign or a group of campaigns you might be interested in. And it was just too much for me to handle, so I don't subscribe to it anymore. So enter your email address, mark the first box, hit sign up. When you get that email, you'll get an email soon thereafter in your mailbox, and be sure and click on the link inside that email because that'll be your confirmation that yes, I want to be on the sign up list. I want to get all the updates for this campaign. And then remember, when you back it first day, which will be in roughly a month, you'll get an exclusive Shadowpunk trading card. And then let's watch this little clip from the movie once more. All right, it's right here, right?
I think that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Such a trip.
All right. Thanks, man. It's awesome.
Good work. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that's a lot of fun. Screenshots. And, I realized I forgot to ask. So with the comic, are you literally drawing all this, either traditionally or digitally, or are you taking screenshots from the movie and using those as the images for your panels?
No, well, the movies, none of the city is built. I shouldn't say that. So, I draw the panels on my sketch pad and then I ink them in Illustrator. But when I'm doing things like city buildings, I will make real basic shapes for buildings or like city streets or something like that,
Mhm.
Yeah, or something mechanical. I would build it because I'm a 3D guy and I can, right? Like if I actually had her fight like a robot or something, then I would actually probably build him in 3D and
Mhm.
use him, as my template. But it's the models don't really translate that well to drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but they just don't. They're not accurate enough to serve as a something to draw from. So, but what I also do is, you know, those wooden figures you compose.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have those in my software.
Okay, all right.
So I can put 2 or 3 figures together, and then I can put my camera where I want it, and then I draw that. So, for example, if I wanted like the camera real low to the ground, looking up at these people, or vice versa, I can put it, and then it really helps me quite a bit because I can do that stuff so easy. And it's, you know, if I was Jim Lee, I would not have to do that. You know, I would literally be able to draw it and visualize it so easy. But I want to leverage all my skills that I already have to get the thing done, you know, and to make it look unique, I think.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my approach at this point. So
I mean, like, are you using a digital tablet to do all this drawing?
I sometimes I use the mouse, like a normal mouse to ink,
Oh,
but
wow.
sometimes I have a tablet with a pen, and I'll do that, you know. But you know, the thing is, I've been using a mouse for so long that I'm sort of used to I'm dexterous in that way, you know, just like a person would be with a pencil, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, some of this imagery looks like it. Oh, actually, all right. So, would it be correct to say that you're pretty much exclusively a digital artist?
No, I would not say that. I mean, I draw the stuff, like I draw the figures in pencil.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I mean, then I ink it inside Adobe Illustrator.
Nice.
So yeah. So I mean, and the reason I do that too is because thinking with a pencil is much faster and easier. Right? How does the clothing work? I have to figure that out and visualize it, and I can't do that in the computer, you know. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, right on. That's neat.
Well, we had this is. Go ahead.
One other question. So, you mentioned you start off with drawing and inking. Another thing that I forgot to mention that you've probably seen on a lot of campaigns is original art.
Yeah. Yeah.
If one thing you might consider, you don't have to necessarily do it on this first one, but either a select number of sketch cards or possibly even interior pencils and or inks.
Yeah.
And sell those at the higher tiers. Because one thing I always recommend any creator do for their campaign is you always have a feature tier, which is kind of your bang for your buck tier, that immediately grabs the attention because it's the first one on the list, right? But also because it usually includes something like the main book, maybe a variant book, maybe a sticker, and maybe a bookmark. So you get the taste, you get the flavor of your campaign and what your product is about, right? And then you follow it up with, all right, here's the book only. Here's a variant cover only. Here's the here's the digital version of the book. And then you start building your way down the list until you get to the higher tiers, like original art plus book.
I got you.
You know, that kind of stuff. And
you
then,
know, it's a really cool idea. And the way I think I'm going to do it now is I'm going to have stretch goals.
Yeah, stretch goals are good too.
Things like, because it's my first campaign.
Sure.
And you said it earlier too, like the first time you don't want to go ballistic because you don't know how much work it's going to be. But I love those ideas, right? And I've already dug a hole because I want to desperately do my figurine. So that alone is going to be a thing for me to literally, I have to paint each one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be crazy, right? But I'm doing it. And
but remember, you can save that for a future campaign. You don't have to do it all on this one.
I have to. I'm
Man,
psycho.
you sound like me.
You know, it's a good.
Once I got my mind set on something, I got to stick with it.
Well, here's the thing too. The reason I also want to do it is because not everybody is doing what I'm doing.
Sure.
And
yeah.
so if once I finish printing and painting the character, I'm going to post it online, and hopefully that will get people revved up.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
it
it's
will.
in my own unique kind of way, I guess.
It will. It will.
You know, but I'm a decent painter of the figurines. I have metallic paint and I have normal acrylic paint, so it should look pretty cool.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna maybe limit the editions, like you said. I like that idea too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't literally do not overwhelm yourself because you're going to be busy enough with promotion, managing the Indiegogo campaign to make sure you don't miss things. Uh, are you planning on doing like what a lot of comic skaters do, where you do first 30-day round of funding, second 30-day round of funding, and then in demand?
I've heard that people do that, and I'm kind of green about the whole thing. I think at this point I might do 30 campaign and then 30 in demand, but I don't really know, honestly, because I
Okay.
don't know what other. I mean, I heard somebody say that, and I thought, well, I don't know anything. Maybe I'll do that. But maybe you're saying there's a three. You can do it three different ways.
Well, no. Well, it's you fund for the first 30 days, and then you fund another 30 days, and then, assuming your campaign is funded, then you have the option to go in demand.
Okay.
And then in demand is, as I understand it, can be indefinite if you really wanted to leave it open that long, with no cap as to how long it's up there.
You know, that also makes sense to me because Indiegogo only benefits from you selling more.
Yeah.
So they would want to give you the option of making more money for them, right?
Yeah, but all right. So, I mean, we could go down this whole conversation that discusses like the pros and the cons, the benefits.
Oh,
you know,
right,
what
right.
you're faced with, and there is a good argument for in demand, but in my opinion, you don't necessarily want to be in demand for too long, like much more than a couple years, I guess, at most.
Oh, people do it that long?
I mean, you can. I mean, supposedly you can do it indefinitely.
I
far
got
as I
you.
know.
Wow.
But because you can treat it like an online store.
Yes.
But
But you'd have to really.
I don't think that's really the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you keep it shorter, maybe 3 or 4 months in demand, so it gives you time to fulfill. All right. Well, let me show you, and let me try and explain a scenario, if you will.
Okay.
All right. So here's an example of a 30-30 in demand. So then remember, in demand is under the condition that you've fully funded your campaign
Right.
by the 60-day mark.
Okay.
So you got a pre-launch, which can last up to 6 months max. During that pre-launch, you're doing everything you can to promote. You're trying to get as many people to sign up and get excited for your book. Launch day comes. You're going to have a huge spike, ideally, in interest. People are going to want to be there for the launch because that's when everything is flurry. Everything's so exciting, brand new stuff. I want to get in on the ground floor. There's a certain mystique about being the first backer number one.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
All that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of interest at the start of the first 30 days. Then it starts to gradually taper off as you go through the campaign. As time passes, you continue promoting throughout that period. you might add another special tier or something now and then throughout that month. And then you come to the end of the first 30, and then you kind of treat it like it's like kind of mind games, but everyone accepts it.
Marketing games, kind of.
Yeah, marketing games. Everyone knows the dealio if they've been watching these crowdfunders for some time. But we accept it as, hey, it's there. Let's try and take advantage of it. So then you go, all right, my campaign's ending in 10 days, 9 days, 8 days. And then you get close to that into the 30 days. And then we're like, all right, be sure you don't miss out on this campaign. And then you have like, I should back up a little. When you first launch, you want to find a channel that is willing to, do your launch.
Yes,
if you don't
right.
already have an established audience and
Right.
A lot of people who come to your channel. So, for example, Michael Bancroft, if you can get it on a Raging Golden Eagle stream.
Okay.
Red Valkyrie. Maybe Indie Volt, maybe Dark Ape Comics. Shoot, who's the other one? There's another good one. What is it? Critical Frequency? Is that it? Am I remembering right?
I'm not familiar with it.
Something like that. I think it's Critical Frequency. Anyway, there are a bunch of big channels, bigger than mine. That you can launch on. Well, if they'll have you, try and get a channel who's willing to launch you, who has a bigger audience than you do on your YouTube channel.
Right.
And then when it comes close to the end of the 30 days, have another person to, conclude the first 30 days and be the launching platform for the next 30.
I see.
So that'll be one stream as well. Well, it depends on how you do it. You could either, be on one channel and make it like 1 or more hours long, or you can make arrangements to be on several people's channels in a row. There are different ways to handle it.
Well,
and then you've started the second 30 days round of funding. So there's more initial interest, and then you have the lull again, and then comes back up. It's kind of like a sine wave.
Yeah.
Of interest, and then you come close to the second 30, and it's the same thing, right? This time, you're warning people, we're coming to the end of funding. Get excited, back this book while you still can. And then you should see, ideally, another spike towards the end too, right? So it's like waves in the ocean. And then around that time or on the stream, you announce that you are in fact going in demand. And then there's initial interest at the beginning. And of course, throughout this whole process, you're occasionally, adding some more candy, if you will.
Right.
Maybe 1 or 2 new perks or something, or you've hit some stretch goals, you make announcements, you keep everyone updated on your campaign using your Indiegogo updates tab.
Yeah.
And then once you're in demand, then hopefully by then you're starting to fulfill. And once you get fulfilled, unless you can start fulfilling sooner the better, of course, because one thing people don't like is late books. We have a very understanding community. They understand that quality does take time, and if something's a little late, as long as you keep people in the loop, they're pretty cool with it.
Okay.
But if you can avoid being late, by all means, do it.
Well, I mean, my plan at this point is to I will not be getting it done anytime soon. So I mean, if I was able to get it done by the end of this year, I would be like lucky.
Okay.
I'm because so that's I mean by the time amount of time it takes me to do the pages, I mean maybe I'll get faster, right? But so I mean maybe I'll just be up front with people like, hey, this is my first campaign, and I this is when I plan on trying to get it done.
Mhm.
But the other thing too is the scenarios that you describe are very interesting, but they also assume that you actually got your book to be funded, like you said,
Right.
to
Right.
be, and I've never done one, so I don't even know if I can get my book funded, right? And
Right.
that's going to be the first hurdle to get over.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll apologize now because I sometimes get overly excited
Oh yeah, well we all
about
do.
campaigns that even though I may think it's stellar and that there's no chance it won't get funded, there's always that chance in the back of everyone's mind.
Yeah, you never know,
You
right?
but and I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, so I apologize for that. Just things to think about, things to mull over, things to consider, and things to maybe potentially avoid,
Yeah.
things to or put off until a future campaign.
Yes.
Like, I mean, as interested you as you, well, yeah, you probably do want to stick with limited. Yeah, I strongly recommend limited quantities. Um,
On the
yeah,
miniature, yeah.
yeah, limited quantities because that's going to take a lot of your time.
Yes. And
Um,
also to your point though, let's hypothetically say I sold all 20 or 10 or whatever it is. If I had the time and people really wanted it, I could go, here's a second edition version or
yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah, by all means, yeah, for
So
sure.
that's always an option. I mean, but your idea is a good one because it definitely makes sure that I won't get totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because who knows how that I could only sell one, or maybe I sold 200, right? You never know how people are. So I could dig a hole where I'd be paying those guys for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
buying multiple, so
And the focus above all else is the book.
is a book. Yeah, that's why
Mhm.
right now people are trying to contact me to help me to do work, like do coloring work and to work
Um,
on their miniatures and stuff. I'm like, I gotta only work on the book.
yeah, I agree with that. And if you haven't already, I have not checked, but I would recommend adding somewhere to your social media profiles commissions closed,
Oh, right.
just to make it clear that, when they try to reach you, you go, yeah, commissions closed. I'll have to hit him up later when
You
he's
know,
free.
it's an excellent point. The thing is, I'll probably end up doing that. I'm just blown away by the fact that people want me to do stuff for them that I haven't gotten. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, that's be so. And then then I'm thinking, fuck yeah, I want to make that guy. You'd be so cool, but I can't.
Yeah, but don't fall into the trap that people do where then your focus gets redirected to
Yes,
wanting so badly to do their project. You've got nothing but their project on your mind.
totally. So, and it's so easy to
You
get
gotta,
into. You
it's
know,
easy to do. Yeah.
easy to
Like,
do.
like it's kind of like how I try and be supportive of so many channels and I like so many people and so many creators that I want to support them by hopping on their channels. I want to help promote if I have time. I'll try and jump on their panels if they're offering it. I'm like a mod on, I think, 10 or so different channels.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I try to mod whenever I can. but it comes down to there's a point at which if I'm doing all this for everyone else, that takes all that same time away from me ever creating my project.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then. How many times have you gone for over 3 hours?
A lot. Well, I mean, when I do promotion, when it comes to pre-launch pages, I probably usually don't go over 2 hours. But when it comes to streams in general, I often go over 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, we had so much to talk about. You know, we could keep going, right?
Yeah, I know.
And it was so cool because I don't know how long people stayed in the chat for.
Right. Well, the thing that people remind me of is that when it comes to promotional streams, people have a tendency to hang out at most an hour, hour and a half. Maybe if you're lucky, 2 hours.
That's long, right?
But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're lucky, but you know, there are cases where I've seen people stay for less time, and when I look at my analytics, oftentimes they don't they don't spend
Right.
as much time. But there are lots of very supportive people who I appreciate.
Well, you know, if you really think about it, getting a consumer's attention for that long is amazing. Even if
Mhm.
it's like 20 minutes is a long time. And
Mhm.
when you're, because most people, they look at stuff, billboards or TV commercials or whatever. Most people don't put in that level of interest.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm actually impressed that people stay that long.
Yeah, let's see. Well, some of them are like food related streams. Some of them are cooking related. Food/cooking. Some of them are gaming streams. Like I've done like a 6-hour stream. When I do like when I do shoot, like special events, Christmas, New Year's, Halloween.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Then I could go 6 to 12 hours.
Wow.
I try not to go over 12 hours because, well, let's see. I think Facebook stops broadcasting after 4 to 6 hours. YouTube stops after 12 hours. And I'm broadcasting simultaneously to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Oh, no kidding.
I don't think Twitch has a cap that I've noticed, at least.
I got you.
So if you want to stay within that period before the platform cuts you off, then you either cut it off before then or cut it off and then restart a new one. And I try not to stop and start the same topic.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lorenzo Sleestag. What's up? I'm watching, but joined only a few minutes ago.
Oh my gosh, Lorenzo.
20 minutes average view time is what I consider good.
Yeah, that's a lot of time, like I said, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get that much, damn, more power to you. Yeah, and I understand why I'm one of the smaller channels. I know I'm pretty. I think I have a pretty good understanding.
Okay.
And you know, I could talk to you about that offline. But I think it's pretty clear. Not everyone is into the long format.
I see.
I'm among a small number of promoters who really enjoy the banter, really enjoy combining the shill with the chill.
Okay.
I mean, there are plenty of awesome channels that have bigger audiences that are more focused, I guess, sort of towards the shorter attention spans. And, you know, more power to them. There's no problem in that either.
Yeah.
You know, you could do a shill of 5 minutes or less, or you can go up to half an hour to an hour. or you can like hop on one hop hop on one of my streams and sit and stew for a while.
Yeah, I mean it's cool though that they're all different, you know, and
Mhm.
you obviously have a way of doing it. You've gotten it down where you keep it interesting the whole time. I mean,
I try.
I honestly I didn't think we had. I mean, it's amazing we had that much to talk about, and it's you know, and it went on, and I think the whole thing was interesting.
Right on.
You know, I mean I mean I don't know how that happened, but it happened. You know, it's a
Magic.
it's a miracle, right?
It's magic. Well, on that note, I wanted to let's see. We should probably bring this to a close, and definitely been a load of fun.
Yeah, man.
You
Thank you
know,
very
when I
much.
start these things, I have no clue how long it's going to go. It's based on a number of factors. But yeah, this was great fun. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the interaction with the chat. The chat is freaking awesome. Hey, I wanted to give you the floor here. Would you share with the world how you can be found on social media?
That's for me.
Yes.
How you can be a phenomenon on social media?
No, how you can be found.
Oh,
on
I'm
social media.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I'm at Shadowpunk Comic on Twitter, and that's my only place you can find me right now. And yeah, that's it. I think I don't know if there's a way you can put that in the chat. Honestly.
Excuse me. You know what? You should also be able to. Oh wait, hold on. As a panelist, no, you can't. Not unless you have YouTube open in another window. Your Twitter, right, is what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
I have your Twitter in the description of the stream, but I'll also include it here.
Let me see if I can put it in here. I put that in there.
Oh yeah, in the private chat. Right on. That's a good idea. Shadowpunk comic. Yeah, that's the one I shared too. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh, sweet. All right, good. I need it. Oh my gosh, what the? How did I not make Takamai mod? All right, now I fixed that. Lorenzo is a mod already. So
Oh, cool.
sweet. Yeah, and Lorenzo also shared it.
Oh, cool. You know, Lorenzo, you missed the show, and it's a bummer, man. We went over a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's available for replay.
That's true. But Lorenzo had me on his channel a while back, and he knows a lot of it.
Hell yeah.
But I think some things he probably, I have new stuff probably in there that he didn't see. So,
gotcha.
But he's super cool, and he lives in Michigan too. So,
oh wow, more
he's a
Michigander.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it used to be, as far as I know, it used to be the majority of CGers were in Ohio.
Oh, cool.
But it's cool that there's so many in Michigan because I know a couple people further north of me, and I also have family in Canada. So one of these days, I'd like to do like a road trip sometime and visit with people.
Oh, cool idea.
That'd be so fun. Lorenzo says, WyzGyz gave you good advice about how to run a campaign based on my friends who have run campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Posted it. You guys are welcome on my channel. I stream 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays.
Cool.
I'll have to check it out. I still work in a traditional 9 to 5. Well, not exactly, but I work from 12:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's kind of a funny schedule. So that's why all my streams now are either in the morning or in the evening. Late in the evening.
Makes sense. Yeah, because you had the one guy, so in the morning. So yeah.
Yeah. Most of I'm finding most of the creators I'm working with to get them on my show, the evenings have been working better for them in their schedules. So I think it's because a lot of people still do have a kind of 9-to-5 job, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And they
Yeah.
do their books on the side for extra income and stuff and to hone their craft.
And not to mention, I think a lot of the viewers are, they get off work at night, and so then now they're ready to watch a podcast,
Yes. Yes.
So that makes, when you had the one during the day, I was like, this is cool. I'm working on my comic and I can listen to it. But I'm like, yeah, I bet you there's a smaller market for people during the day. People are working,
Excuse me. I met Stu, who plays Soy Rage character, in person. He's a fun guy to hang out with. Wow. I can see that. Takamai says, "Hey, Creators Outlet, what's up?"
Hey, what's up, Will?
Creators Outlet and Lorenzo Sleep Stack, another couple channels to promote on.
Yeah, I was on Will's a while back, and he also, like Lorenzo and you, he gave me some pretty good ideas. He actually showed me some of the things he got on other campaigns.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really opened my eyes. So.
Yeah, oh man, the possibilities. Good golly. Let's see.
Wow, it's 1 a.m. and people are still in the chat. That's crazy.
Well, you got people like online at most hours of the day, because you got to remember we've got the U.S., you've got Europe, we've got a CG UK. They're 5 hours from the East time zone.
Okay, yeah.
You've got Scotland, and you've got I think we've got some CGers in the Middle East.
Really?
We've got Australia. We've got Sweden. We've got CG Japan. Excuse me. So we got some really great people. So there are people who are like, they have insomnia, so they have trouble sleeping. So they appreciate the late night streams. And that's why you have those slots filled up by people. Like, we got some Fandom Menace people who I hang out with sometimes, like Jedi Bill. He does this sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 7 hour live stream where he does karaoke.
Okay.
And then we've got Michael T, who does his MMM. What is it? Monday Marathon. Oh man, I keep forgetting what it stands for. I should have this memorized by now. But it's called MMM, and he goes for hours. He starts late in the morning. Well, by late, I think it's like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Really? Oh, you know what though? Wait a second. Didn't Ethan always does that once in a while too?
Sometimes, but I think he usually starts around 5 or 6 Eastern.
Oh, does he? Okay.
And then the Jack Show, that runs real late. It starts around 11 p.m. Thursdays and goes until it ends, which is 4 or 6 hours later.
Well, you know what's interesting that you mentioned that is that I usually wake up at about 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I usually am in bed by 11, right? So I'm normally, when these shows are coming on, like at 11, 10 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm already put in a 15, 16-hour day, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I love to get on there, but I can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the latest I've been up so long. It's like college.
Well, we're going to go to the next house over and start partying some more.
I believe it.
So
I believe it.
Get ready to drink.
After party.
Hails all around. Check out Creators Outlet. Indeed, indeed. I only sleep about 4 hours a day, laughing my ass off. Oh my gosh. Sometimes intentionally, I give myself little sleep like that, but I try not to
Some people can do it.
because ultimately my body's going to take over and say, you're going down and you're staying down
Yeah.
until I'm ready. My metabolism isn't near as fast as it used to be in my prime.
No, man. I mean, not everybody's superhuman, Tokame.
Yeah, South America, Europe, Canada, Aussie, Japan, Africa. Ah, there it is. All right, Michael T's Monday Morning Mayhem. Yes, yes. Check him out as well.
Okay.
He does some really late ones. Well, unless you view it as early. Monday Morning Mayhem. Believe this is Takame's site. Awesome. Wreckage, a Mad Max style turn-based war game that's currently in development. Ooh. Very cool. Yeah. I don't know if you knew, but I pretty much promote Comicsgate and Comicsgate friendly Indiegogo projects, and it's usually comics and graphic novels, but sometimes I also promote other CG projects like there was a release of a haiku book with art illustrations.
Oh, okay.
There's another project there is going back to the pulp days of like Conan and
Yes.
Shadow and Spirit. So pulp style books. There's another couple of projects that are making magazines.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm promoting all that kind of stuff too. Set within my dystopia IP line. Nice. Yeah, I love seeing all this creativity. This is the main site.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
Takame-llc.com. That sounds like an interesting game. Heck yeah. I was just at a Barnes and Noble, and I actually checked out their toys and games section, and there are so many tabletop games. There are all kinds of different games these days.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then I was at that hobby store, and they carried loads of games too.
Yeah.
I mean, you had everything from HeroClix to Pokemon to
Magic.
the Gathering. Yeah, awesome stuff. This was my last stream. I'm streaming again Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Nice. Fantastic. I also run a web development sub-business that's also currently in development.
Okay.
Holy cow.
What don't you do?
Yeah, seriously. You're like Indie Blast, Indie Volt. You know, that team, yeah. They got all kinds of projects, and I think they even have like a is it a Spotify? Like they have a radio show, they have a couple different channel segments, they do CG promotion, they have chill streams. Yeah, Indie Vault's good peeps. Creators Outlet says, I like to promote anything as long as the work is up to par. Nice. Sleep? I don't sleep.
He can't, man. Not with that.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. I could not survive without sleep. Believe it or not, I think I'm back to requiring 8 or 9 hours of sleep.
It's healthy, right?
Yeah, but what I'm finding now is I'm too into social media and technology that if I unexpectedly wake up at 4 a.m. and I've only gone to bed at like 1 a.m. or something, then I'll have the urge to hop on my phone and consume social media.
Oh, really?
It's bad. They've got those timers, those things that monitor how much content how much time you're spending on your phone doing this and that, and it's kind of up there.
I don't know how healthy it is, right?
It's not.
I mean,
It's not healthy.
It's not as bad as crack cocaine, but it's probably, it's not like eating health food either, right?
Right. I mean, what do they say when it comes to nutrition and health? You want to try and be asleep in deep REM sleep, full sleep, between the hours of like 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. because that's when your body heals and regenerates and tries to fix all its problems.
Oh, okay.
And that's why also you don't want to, like, for example, you don't want to drink dairy or caffeine or eat anything, especially eat anything heavy after 9 p.m.
Yeah, totally.
Because when you lay down, you're in a horizontal position. So your stomach's not really effectively working to digest food. So if you eat stuff late at night, you're going to have chunks of food taking forever to digest.
Well, I have acid reflux, so I'm an expert on that problem, unfortunately. So yeah, I stopped eating like around 7:30.
I might have a case of that now.
I'll tell you, you don't want to. You don't want it. You want to stop it now.
Yeah.
Because it got so bad with me, man. And it takes years to bounce back.
Is it like one of those cases where you eat too much spicy or rich foods and then there's like something at the bottom of your throat or something, like a valve?
Yes.
That opens up unexpectedly or something, and your stomach acids or something.
That's it.
Force the stuff back up the throat.
Yep, that's it.
And you get that bile taste.
No, it's actually worse than that. You actually like let's pretend you drank a couple of beers before you went to bed. That will come back up your throat.
Oh.
The beer will come back up your throat.
Oh.
Right. And if it's halfway up and it doesn't come all the way up, it eats away your esophagus.
Oh yeah, because you're dealing with stomach acids, right?
Yeah, and so it's a bummer. It isn't. I wouldn't say it's a great thing at all. You really gotta. For years I worked like all-nighters and stuff, and I got used to drinking so much soda and so much energy drinks, and it takes a toll.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I still drink caffeine. Like coffee and soda.
Yeah.
But I have moments where I try and cut back on it. And then when I'm drinking coffee, I've got this huge mug that I'm known to drink from. I drink from large containers because I don't like constantly having to refill. Okay. So my coffee mug is 64 ounces.
I see.
But it takes me, on average, because I don't want to just scarf it down, it usually takes me 2 or 3 days to go through it.
Oh.
Through it. 64 ounces is a whole pot of coffee.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you know what? Look at it this way. I can't drink caffeine anymore, ever.
Ever?
Instant heartburn. Instant.
Oh, damn.
And so I don't drink caffeine, and I try not to eat processed sugars.
Yeah, that's supposed to be bad for you.
It is, but the point is that stuff is awesome. And if you do too much of it, you won't be able to ever do it again.
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah, there's a cap, point of no return.
Yeah, definitely.
Lol, sleep in Windows. Lorenzo says, some of my panelists don't know much about CG, but they aren't SJWs and they believe in quality customer service.
That's all you
what
want.
counts. That's
Yep.
what counts.
Absolutely.
You know, as long as you don't put down and name call the very people you're wanting to back your book,
Totally.
it's so counterproductive. Like,
crazy.
oh man, I could go on for a while. Technically, Takame LLC is a company. Myself, my wife, Takame Angel, oh, that's sweet, and my close friend ZenBlue66 created together. We have 3 other developers in our team, and we all work on different projects. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is
Congratulations.
Yeah, I love hearing about creators that are like have a family business. Like EVS, he's got his wife and their friend working for the company.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
And sometimes his son works for him. You've got RT Bear and his wife. You've got Billy Tucci and his wife. You got I think Graham Nolan and his wife. I think she helps with fulfillment.
Yes.
Jan Zelin and Shane Davis. I'm not a doctor, but it seems like any number of things can make acid reflux worse. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it changes from person to person.
Really?
Yeah, because some people, for example, certain things won't get them, and some people will, and it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing.
I thought it was always consistently very rich foods and spicy foods.
It is actually, but like for example, some people won't have a problem with tomatoes, right? Even though they get acid reflux on everything else, and some people will get it. And so it's I'm sure there are things that are 100% everybody can't do, but like no salsa for you, right? That kind of a thing, you know. But you know, it's all I can say is it sucks. And
I hear
you know,
that.
but then again, when I had to change my diet, I lost 20 pounds. So that was a silver lining, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so hard to lose weight. So I lost weight, and you know, so
there's multiple things that will upset my stomach. A thing I learned is if you drink a single cup of coffee when you first get up, preferably black or without sugar, your brain uses that caffeine through the day and it helps neural processing.
it's probably true.
Yeah, I take that and go overboard.
So do I. So did I.
Welcome. Hey, comments mate.
What's up, man?
I consider my business a family business. Now I just need a family. That's cute. Doesn't Frega's teenage son help out? I don't remember. Possibly. And Frega's wife has her own business where she nearly from scratch, I think, makes all these craft type projects, and she does those tumblers, custom
cool.
tumblers that are really have fancy designs. She did one of Black Flag.
Oh, I'm sure.
And she gets the image on there, and then I guess she works with the epoxy or whatever they use in whatever materials they use for those things.
Yeah.
And she makes those and sells them.
My friend's wife does stuff like that, and I'm like, you make how much money a month? Wow. People buy it.
Yeah. The TFOS, Teenagers from Outer Space game, this Friday has all 6 of the Takame LLC people in it, plus 2 other members of CG.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Cool. Teenagers from Outer Space. Who doesn't want that? Hail to thee. Hail. I so want one of those tumblers with Black Flag on it. Yeah. I don't know if that's a one-off or if she plans on making a bunch more. Maybe it depends on the interest and demand for it. But I think it was something that she did for Frege for fun,
It's
or
cool.
just to show the possibilities. But yeah, that would be a trip. To
That
have
guy's
one of those.
he's an incredible artist, man.
Yeah, I love the dedication to his art. I mean, he does practice sessions, to loosen up. Then he works on his book, and he does all this stuff related to his campaign. But at the same time, he also dedicates time to exploring technology. He's real nerdy in that regard.
You know what?
Like what is it called when you're VR? I guess virtual
Okay.
reality kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He's exploring that kind of stuff and learning how he might adapt that to, what his plans are.
Huh. You know what? It made me think. One of the things I might end up doing for my campaign is, if I get funded and I can afford it, I might have somebody do the flat colors for me.
Oh, do the flats? Yeah.
Yeah, I might. I don't know how much it costs though. It might be too much that I can afford. But
I don't know, but ask around, get some quotes, so you have an idea.
yeah, it's more something I'm considering more and more. But you clearly, if you don't fund that much, you can't afford to do it, right?
Sure, right,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
but
you also have to decide what you're going to indicate as your funding goal.
yeah,
And
right now I think it's somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
all right,
I don't want to go more than that.
that's actually pretty darn reasonable considering a
Is it?
lot of campaigns will start around there. But you also don't want to shortchange yourself and not be realistic, because something people forget about is the cost of shipping materials and the cost of shipping and the printing costs.
Yeah,
But do your best to get all the math done early on, before you launch, especially.
yeah. That's
Um,
also hard because I'm an artist, right?
well,
When you
the
say the
thing
word
is,
math, I'm not sure exactly what that even is.
reach out to other creators. There are plenty of people. Reach out to John Malin, Adam Post, Art T. Bear. There are so many people who have already been through what you're about to do, who can give you some advice on shipping and stuff.
Yeah,
There was someone else.
I should do that. Find somebody who's done it and say, how much did it cost you? Do you even remember, right? But it would
Yeah.
be. I'm sure they know more than me.
And then nowadays, you also have to think about, well, I guess I don't know if it's something you want to wait till later to consider, but when it comes to shipping, one of the challenges we're faced with is what's the most economical way to ship. And some say it's best to, traditionally you basically ship your standard method however you can, domestic, and then do international shipping after that, or around the same time. Some partner up with someone who's already international and arrange to get product.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah, shipped to let's say you and me are teamed up, and let's say I'm in Canada, so I would be your Canadian resource. 20% of the printing job is sent to me, and 80% is domestic, and it goes to you. And then I fulfill everyone from Canada and everyone internationally, and then you fulfill everyone domestically
I
with
see.
local shipping costs.
Wow, that's a lot to wrap your head around, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm
I mean,
probably overly overwhelming you, and I apologize.
no, it's totally makes sense, though, doesn't it? You know, I mean, if as a matter of fact, if I had done a campaign before and I was like, people are going to buy it, and I'm going to send to Canada or international, and that actually makes a lot of sense.
And also with today's economy and today being what it is, last I heard, I don't know if there are any new developments, but last I heard, USPS does not ship to Australia right now.
Oh, okay.
So what were the details? I think other companies still deliver to them, or only certain types of packages or something are
Probably.
deliverable to Australia from USPS, because a lot of people's products were stuck on ships offshore from Australia for a while.
I just got Michael Bancroft's book a few weeks ago, and it took maybe 3 weeks to get here. So I mean, and which is actually what I expected, but your description's accurate, I think.
So let's see. TFOS is a game Michael Pondsmith's of Cyberpunk 2020 and his son created. Super simple game that's driven on role play and designed to be pure comedy.
Wow.
Man, the description alone sounds like fun. Oh my gosh. Always apply the law of 4 to the overhead and target goal of a product. Make your goal 4 times production to cover production, shipping to you, storage, and shipping to the customer.
Okay. Huh.
4 times production to cover production, shipping to you, storage. Yeah, those are good considerations. And shipping to the customer. Well, 4. Okay. So, for example, printing a single issue might be $1 per unit, but it will cost $1 to have it shipped to you, and $1 to ship to your buyer.
Right.
All right. So for Aussie, you got to use FedEx and UPS.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
Man, does DHL even exist anymore?
Oh, I don't know. But it's actually it's a thing. Like, wow, I mean, yeah, I thought maybe I'll sell something to Australia, but man, that's like it feels so far away, which it isn't, but it's like I'm so consumed with doing the book that these considerations are big. There's things I haven't really had time to really wrap my head around.
Well, don't forget, it's a small world after all. Copyright claim. No. Lorenzo says, I think RJ from Critical Blast might be someone to talk to about shipping.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Critical Blast is doing fulfillment for a lot of creators now. Critical Blast is a very good resource. Good point.
Okay.
Good point. Okay.
Hey, we're getting close to almost 4 hours here.
Oh shoot! Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah, we should. USPS gets cost up in customs. All right. So, on that note,
4
I'll
hours.
just say real quick. All right. You want to say once more how you can be found on social media?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter at Shadowpunk Comic.
Oh, yeah. That was it, right?
That was it. That's short and sweet.
Okay. I keep expecting to do a long spiel of media platforms.
No, yeah, I'm not up to speed yet.
Yeah, you can find me at my usual haunts, Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets, on YouTube at WyzGyzEntertainment. Make sure if doing searches, WyzGyz is one word, WyzGyz, and Twitch, WyzGyz Entertainment, all one word. I want to thank everyone in chat for joining us. You guys freaking rock.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You guys are amazing, guys and gals. I want to thank everyone who watches this on replay. You guys are awesome as well. And I want to extend a very special thanks for the company of Mr. Matt, aka Shadowpunk.
Thank you.
All right. Well, please like, comment, and subscribe. Mark the bell for notifications. Indicate all notifications, so hopefully you don't miss a single video or stream. And we shall see you. And there's a URL for the Shadowpunk.
Thanks, Lorenzo.
Thanks so very much. And your my Twitter. Thank you so much. And we shall see you on the next stream. Bye.
Final guest that is the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sameti. The YouTube channel. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.